All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another week of the Lustria campaign. Who is calling me literally right as I start the recap? Oh, whatever, I'm not going to answer it. In any event, so last time we arrived in the town, city, whatever you want to call it, of Port Reaver. A few shenanigans ensued as we met one of the proprietor of a Lusty Gems, who was in fact a man by the name of Lusty Gem. And while that was going on, I also met with a group of skinks running around with a croc score just outside of Port Reaver, who were apparently looking for a man that had a tattoo, so to speak, of a map of the coastline of Lustria. And for whatever reason, they were hell-bent on trying to find him. So my character decided, or Tehetekai was like, I can help with this. I'm good and sneaky. More than these guys probably are, and I'm even more used to warm blood. So he went looking into Port Reaver. Meanwhile, our party was dealing with gamblers and drunks and all sorts of other fun things. This eventually kind of built up to a discovery that Lusty Jim was in fact the individual who had said tattoo, but it was actually a birthmark that had a tattoo placed over it, and apparently was more accurate than he probably suspected it was. As Tehetekai hoped to use this information to potentially capture Lusty Jim, maybe to hand him over to the skinks or decide what to do, the skinks that we had met, or I had met, decided to launch their own attack. And a croc score literally just burst through the room, and a sort of fight ensued where the croc score was mainly just trying to grab Lusty Gem, and everyone else was trying not to get crushed by it. Those things did play out. Lusty Gem was captured by the croc score. The party thankfully managed to avoid the croc score's ire, and the skink group with the croc score left with their captive in tow. That, of course, caused a bit of an incident in Port Reaver, as they had functionally just been attacked by a very small party of lizardmen, though one very big lizardman. And this led to panic and alarms and all sorts of other shenanigans. So our party, instead of spending the night in Fort Reaver as the original plan was forced to flee immediately to avoid potential issues. And we are now on our way north once more towards the port of Skeggy, where supposedly the remainder of the fleet that we set out with are being kept as prisoners.
I love how that all of that implies that we were actually doing our job too, which we weren't.
No, but it all worked out in the end.
We were mostly just making money.
Gerard did a passing thing to avoid Lusty Gems.
What matters is that I am proud of every single one.
I did notice a lack of mention of the Tehetekai power play of stealing the other Skink's priest staff and then throwing it back to him when you were done.
Well, everything moved too fast for that to actually be useful, so.
Yeah, sometimes ideas are stopped by just time.
The situation kind of resolved itself.
And as you guys leave Port Reaver, you guys begin heading north into the jungle of Lustria, in the direction that you know is Skeggy, which is currently your final destination. The jungle is even more lush and powerful after a while. There's a moment of relief in the existence of Port Reaver and the just like sheer amount of lumber that was removed from the earth. But after very little time, you get close and there's again this claustrophobic feeling of sheer jungle that comes back, which is not helped by the rain that is falling upon you as you advance. We have lost. There we go. Victor is back. So as you begin heading north, you do see that the rain doesn't seem to stop. Luckily, you have your colleagues Ingvar and Egolf. You have all of your supplies, but the rain doesn't seem to stop. And very closely after a day or two, you are forced to stop your journey because the storm picks up more and more, and just the sheer strength of the wind and the lightning, the crackling of the trees as they fall under the weight of the wind is too much. As you guys have met again a tropical storm. Due to the tropical storm, you guys are limited in endeavors. You can only find shelter. I will allow, if anyone succeeds in finding shelter, you can try and do other endeavors that you could do in this very limited space. That is the cave or whatever place you find that is able to stop the worst from happening to you. But up until there, you need to find shelter to protect yourselves from the rain. If none of you are able to find shelter, and that does include our 2 NPC friends, they're gonna get a roll. But if none of you are able to find shelter, all of you are going to take 12 damage to the body. It's going to be lessened by armor and toughness as usual, but it is going to be damage because that's just the sheer strength of the storm.
Brutal.
And everyone that fails does gain a fatigued condition.
What was the rating for it? Challenging or?
Because of the tropical storm, it is a -20. It is hard.
I'll just put 3 fate into it and pass.
Fortune?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless somebody actually succeeds.
But yeah, hold on, give me a sec.
Oh jeez, oh gosh,
I was gonna say Berard can make a try. He has much better outdoor survival.
Holy crap! How do I keep doing this?
Nice.
Why would he bother?
Yep.
Gone.
All right.
All right, never mind. I don't need to spend
No fortune wasted.
This is my 3rd outdoor survival to find shelter in a row that I just nail.
Well, good. You're good at something.
So Ashling, it's a Hetakai. You failed, so both of you do gain a fatigued condition.
Yeah.
Egon, how does that?
Is it a fail? It's a -0.
Did you roll at the hard? Well, -0 is still a failure. You rolled above the target number.
Oh yeah.
And you would be even here.
Yeah, I'll take the fatigue. What does fatigue do in this game?
Yeah, it's just -10 on most stuff until you rest.
Oh, okay. Well, we're about to rest, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. If you go to effects, there's a tired face, and you can click the number under it to increase the condition you have.
And if you click the face, it also tells you. It opens up a little thing for telling what it does. Egon, how does that shelter look? How does Egon find a place to hide and to protect themselves in the middle of this jungle as you're running from Port Reaver?
Well, Egon has always had a knack for finding hiding places, so all he really has to do is, well, pretend like there's danger around, except there's no pretending needed here. And he does find a very large tree that has fallen over, that has fallen onto some rocks. So kind of like a really big lean-to that's been made naturally. So we can use the tree, the fallen tree, and the rocks that it has fallen on with the little space underneath it to shelter from the worst of it.
It is very limited and very cramped, but you find yourselves in a position where it's the only way to get out of this rain. So none of you are going to take the damage, so the tropical storm is avoided. So any of you who have not done an endeavor can do one without penalty. However, it is limited to the space protected by the shelter that Egon found.
Well, Berard's the only one
Alright.
who has not attempted one yet.
Alright, Berard will make a difficult make camp test to try to remove those fatigue conditions we just got.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty good. Ah,
Berard's gonna use a reroll.
yeah, so he doesn't critically. Hey, look
Hey!
at that. Nailed
Berard
it.
enters this shelter, once again found by Egon, with the bug potion in hand, and looks around for the swarm of mosquitoes that are inevitably inside. And will set up a camp.
You are able to get a little bit of a fire going, just enough to kind of like take the just combat the wetness of the rain. And you are able to use this little amount of lotion to patch everyone together and to avoid an even worse night than it would be. Who do you want to remove the fatigue condition from? You got a +0, so that's going to be just one condition. I think there's Tehetakai and Ashley who have it.
Which of you want it more? Actually, no, Ashling, because when we're all hurt and injured, she is the one that God will send to protect us.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, mighty Sonya.
I put it in my notes as mommy.
God damn it. Sorry, God has a damn it in this case.
As intended. Ingvar is not going to attempt anything. He is very, very wounded from trying to escape Port Weaver. But your other companion, Egon, he's also going to try and make camp to remove Tehetakai's fatigues. He succeeds. I rolled for just myself, but he succeeds.
Hey.
Tehetakai,
Hooray!
he's able to remove your fatigue condition. Actually, I'm gonna ask you this.
I imagine he gives him a back rub.
Yeah, he doesn't know much about lizardmen or like skinks or anything like that. What is something that he could do that he probably wouldn't know, but it would help in this occasion for like removing your fatigue condition?
I think the most realistic thing that would probably happen is that he would find a particular spot beneath the tree growth that is like uncomfortably warm and humid, even compared to the rest of the jungle. And then he also discovers that there are these like nasty giant grubs in there. But little does he realize that these are some of Tehetakai's favorite grubs. They're delicious, refreshing, and also the nice humid warmness of that spot allows him to rest significantly easier than he would normally. So all of his complaints manifest in a wonderful resting spot for the lizard.
Yeah, he probably comes kind of like is exploring. He's a very heavy and like big guy, so he's shuffling around the place, and he removes a stone. And as you said, he kind of like removes the stone and sees a bunch of like grubs in this like very humid and hot place, and he does a face and talks about it, and very quickly that guy skitters around and takes the spot, and he's like, no, that's right. If it's good for you, it's good for you. And all of you wait until the storm subsides. Unfortunately, the storm is going to add another stage, because until you wait for the storm to pass, it is not a matter of like a day or two, it is a matter of 4 to 5 days until you can properly continue, because this is a mighty storm that probably would have been fine in Port Weaver, but here in the wild, it is very hard to pass. Who's feeling lucky?
I'm feeling lucky.
Roll a D100 for me, please.
Blammo. Don't know what that one is.
Okay.
do I have on this character?
Oh boy. Who else is feeling lucky? Because I'm gonna need another
Oh
roll.
no. Oh no.
Not me. Those ghosts.
36. Okay. 6, that's going to be... Awesome. So I am going to need all of you to make me a easy
Sandwich.
toughness check. Toughness.
Alright.
Oh, hang on, I'm holding an arm together.
It is not endurance, it is toughness.
I'm sorry, what was the modifier?
It is easy, so plus 40.
Plus 40.
Whoops.
Nailed it.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Can we not?
You can fortune reroll that if you want to.
Alright, I made it. Ashley made it. Come on, Berard. Don't get
Can I
off
know
now.
what this does before I re-roll, or is this
No.
something I have to re-roll first?
You cannot know what this is before, unfortunately.
I guess I'll join the team in re-rolling for 100? No, good.
Skink passed
Hey,
a toughness
alright.
test the way it should be.
Oof.
Who rolled better? Who has the lowest number?
I only got a plus 1.
Success level.
Oh no, I need to roll for my NPCs.
Oh no! Oh no, not Ingvar! Okay, Eagles made it. Okay,
made it.
good. Oh, actually, he rolled a crit. Nice. And come on. Hey!
Okay.
Okay, so
So-
either
Oh,
Eagle
no.
or Berard rolled the best.
Oh no. I have something bad. I wish I didn't remember this. We have a
Yes?
lizard in the group. And no, I'm not talking about Twin Tail.
Oh, but
The lizard is sitting safely in my bra.
the lizard is not affected by this.
So,
What you do notice, I'm gonna say, yeah, because of these successes, Egon, you're probably gonna be the one that notices this. As you're kind of like eating and kind of like opening your supplies and stuff, you immediately feel that there's something wrong. And you kind of like everyone is making like a little bit of a stew or something for the party, and before everyone starts eating, you see something moving on the empty barrel where some of the supplies were. And I think there's a moment of like just screaming for everyone to stop, and you see this disgusting like slick with slime creature that has burrowed into one of the barrels, and all of the food has been tainted by this.
ah! Twin Tail, what is that? Machete pointing at slimy thing immediately.
Tatakai will look over at slimy thing.
I don't think you have lore. Do you have lore beasts or anything
Nope.
of that sort? Then, no, you have no idea what that is.
Can we get a picture
Berard
of what this
does.
thing is?
Let me check if I have
I-
some.
There is a giant picture with numbers on it in the bestiary section. Might have it.
I have the wildlife for all of the things. It doesn't look exactly like this, but I'll use this just to signify what it looks like.
Aw, damn it, it's not cute.
It is not. It
Yeah.
is like a little wormy thing that is huge in comparison to like other grubs and stuff. And
How big
The-
are we talking?
we're talking like,
Hand-sized?
yeah, hand-sized. A little bit bigger.
Ugh.
It's like
How
hand-sized.
big
It
is
is
How big is my lizard?
a little bigger than that. A
All
little
right,
bigger.
Tonguey, go get him.
And that's what kind of like sets all of you as a little bit of inattention. The lizard refuses. The lizard looks and gives a and moves to your back as kind of like staying on your back.
Did Tonguey just say gross?
I'm not sure.
Tatakai's gonna look over and say, "Not safe. Eat."
You're gonna eat it?
No. No eat.
Also, is there anything safe to eat in this place?
Yeah, we've eaten some of it.
Yeah, I got this purple moss.
Not
Eat the
that.
purple moss.
I'm going to stab the little worm thing with my dagger.
Okay.
Stab.
Very easily you kill it. You just like stab and kill. As you stab and kill, there's this horrifying smell that comes out of it.
I will
Eh.
flick it outside of our camp.
Yeet.
Goodbye,
Good job.
weird leech maggot thing.
Luckily it didn't affect as much as your food, so you have still rations for this step, but you probably wouldn't be healthy eating them. So you have managed to avoid a little bit of a sick stomach. I'm not gonna tell what you rode, just to like keep it secret, but it was an interesting road.
We may encounter it. We may encounter it again.
Yes.
Tatakoi, is there something you do to prevent, like, stuff like that from getting in your food?
He will kind of quirk his head and say, my people no travel with supplies like this. Harder to get to. We live off jungle self.
What about when you leave the jungle?
He pauses and says, not often, but we hunt, always hunt. Find food.
Brard will nod and just go over thoroughly checking the rest of the food we have.
You actually catch one of these creatures trying to burrow into one of the other barrels, but you catch it just in time that it is not able to fully enter. I believe you do have lore beasts, Berard.
I do.
You can give me a roll if you want to. It's gonna be difficult though, so -10. Okay.
God damn.
Oh, well, that'll do it.
So this creature, you wouldn't know its name, but it's basically you see that it has sharp things on one of its ends,
Mandibles.
and kind of like, yeah, it would be kind of like a mandible, almost like teeth, almost like if you ever seen like the mouth of a leech. But
Ugh.
because it is an invertebrate, it doesn't really have a solid state. It twists and burrows. So what it essentially has is that it burrows into something and eats it from inside. Usually it eats like trees, for example. It burrows into trees and eats them from inside. but that's kind of its life cycle. So you don't know if it's able to differentiate between the barrels and the trees, or if it was after the specific food. The specifics of it, of like how do you avoid this, are kind of unclear. But you are able to identify like this. Oh, the thing is that it was eating the food, and what probably was bad was the excrement. You did roll a 5. Because it is one of those creatures that kind of like eats and poops at the same time. It's kind of like just cycles things.
It's called efficiency.
And so probably the excrement of this creature mixed with the food and such would not be healthy to eat. It would be a very dangerous substance.
Don't
boy.
super eat, kids.
With a 5, looking at it, do you think I could figure out what exactly made it stink when Taitakai killed it? If that's some kind of gland or just its insides are gross?
The insides are gross. The insides of it it's kind of like a self-defense mechanism. If it is ever wounded, it excretes just this disgusting smell. So the blood of this creature is very, very smelly in a way that can disorientate people.
And I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
You don't know if it is a part of the digestive system, or if it's just like, even if it didn't eat recently, it's still gonna smell like that. But it is. I think with a 5, you can say like, this could be useful for something. It has usages that you can't really pinpoint right now, but the sheer smell is able to like make someone take a few steps back and be stunned for a while.
Don't think there's anything we got that we could hold this in. Gerard will look at it with disgust and think of several days of staying with a double stink. And then sigh and kill it and throw it away. Actually, he's going to go out into the thunderstorm and kill it away from our camp. And then leave it, since he doesn't have anything to carry this in, and it will get its way out if he puts in anything he has. But he's going to look at the tree we're underneath with deep suspicion.
You do find some grubs that are very similar to that seem to be burrowed into the dead tree and like eating from inside. Most of them are full though, like they're currently eating the tree itself, so they are not interested in your supplies. But like probably those are like strays that fell from the tree and then found the nearest food supply, which was your stuff.
Might be good to wrap the barrels and that in something to keep the wood from being bare. I think they want after that. They look kind of like, so there's this little worm, and he'll gesture pinky-sized, that does this thing where it eats its way into trees like a weevil, and then it will eat the insides. And these look like huge versions of those. You know, you can use those to identify the age of a white pine.
I did not know that.
There's weevils like these, and they go after the top part of the pine, and when it does that, it kills it off so the branches split into 2 separate ones. So if you're on a white pine wood, you can look and identify how old it is, because if there was clear cutting there, the young trees will grow and they'll split all at the same time. And he will go into a lengthy explanation about forestry.
I will sit there taking notes.
Egon will reconsider his dietary choices. Alright, so the storm lets up, right?
Yeah, after a few days, Ingvar actually picks up a tarp that he has. That usually helps for setting up a camp, and he wraps the barrels of food in this tarp, and kind of like you guys keep an eye out, and it seems to work. It seems that the bare wood, the exposed wood of the barrels are it's kind of like attracting them. So this helps a while, and now you are aware of this strategy. Yeah, the storm lets out, and you continue your journey. I will ask once again, who is feeling lucky?
I'll go this time.
Okay.
All right.
fair.
Do you want to roll for weather, or do you want to roll for encounter?
I'll do an encounter roll.
Okay. Let me do the...
An ancient red dragon appeared.
There are no dragons in Lustria.
Yeah.
Except for this one, which would mean it would be either really sneaky or really scary.
Any dragon that you find here is...
The Carnosaur got
horrifying.
wings!
Run!
Now that would be horrifying.
Look, somebody, and I'm not gonna name names, mentioned a Zote jackoff to me, and I can't get rid of the idea.
A Zote what?
So you know Dragon
Zote
Ogre
Shagga.
Shagga?
Yeah. I heard Zote Jackoff, and I was like, what are we talking about?
Okay, what are we talking about here?
We are talking about something else. I don't want to know that.
Zode. He's a jack off. I don't like him.
We are keeping all of those ideas outside.
Oh, gee.
So the storm stops. It's still raining, but eventually you guys find that it's safe enough that you can find your way through the jungle. Though, because like waiting for the rain to completely stop is not working. So you begin to go. It is a downpour. So it's running. It's
better than a tropical storm.
Any physical tasks are going to be at a penalty, but it is,
Wait,
discomfort.
Anybody roll for weather?
I rolled
the
for
DM did.
Okay.
I usually give you guys the option between one roll. So usually I just give like you who is feeling lucky, and I say roll a d10 or a d100. In this case, I'm offering like which one of those do you want to roll. I like when you guys roll. That's cool. However, the amount of rain starts flooding the surrounding areas as you guys keep advancing northward. And
Quick, let's make a Cabalito.
very quickly, as some of the parts start flooding a little, the flies and the mosquitoes start raising, and very quickly you enter some like very damp areas where this cloud of mosquitoes is in front of you, and you are trying to get past. So everyone needs to make a challenging cool test to avoid the mosquito bites. Anyone that has the mosquito lotion yet can use it for to avoid this room.
I choose to use my mosquito lotion.
Do I need to test for this?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Yeah, so
It doesn't exclude the
what kind of cool test is it?
cold blood. Challenging.
Is there enough already unbitten bits of my flesh that this could actually do anything?
I'll say that no, because you're still under the effects of the previous swarm of bugs. So I'm gonna say you don't need to roll. You're still.
I love cold blood. It's so good.
True.
50 turns into a 5.
Let me do it for my 2 NPCs. Because both of them did use the lotion, so have it. Oh, Ingvar has mosquito bites.
Move
Poor
with care.
guy.
Gawk! Gawk!
Why is there
You
so
could talk.
many mosquitoes?
Ingvar trips into the cloud of mosquitoes that is so
Ah.
heavy and dense and strong that it starts carrying him away, and all of you kind of need to very quickly grab him and pull him from the cloud of mosquitoes.
Man, that is a nightmarish mental image. All right.
Ugh.
This is a fun fact for you. This is a urban legend that existed about Brazil very early in colonization, that there were mosquito clouds so big that they would carry a man away.
That is terrifying to think about.
Yeah, that.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like that would just be death very quickly, but exsanguination.
And so yeah, Ingvar is very glad after he's almost carried away by the mosquitoes, as you kind of like yank him back, but he's still got bites all over. I think we're just missing. I think we're missing the rules for. We're missing the rule for Victor, I think. Unless Victor, did Victor have
Oh.
the lotion?
I had bug lotion, indeed.
Oh, cool.
And I
Then
just deleted it.
yeah, then no need.
Exactly what it's for.
So it is raining. So any endeavors from all of you?
Say again?
Any endeavors?
Endeavor.
New.
I will let you
Honest-
know that you do not have any. With this stage, you do not have any rations left. You're able to eat with this stage, and the next one you're not. You don't have guaranteed food for the next stage.
I thought we had some left because we've done. When we left, we had spent one ration on. We left with 2 weeks of rations.
The
We got
tropical
1 week of
storm-
ration.
the
Tropical
tropical
storm
storm-
removed 2 of them.
The
Well,
tropical storm
we were-
adds another stage.
Yeah, we were stuck in place for a few days.
The tropical
No, I
storm
meant because we
increases the
bought
number of stages.
eels. I hunted over the course of all the stages 3 weeks, 3 stages of food,
Yeah,
and we
then
had 2
there's-
at the start.
That was what I said. Like, from Swamptown to Port Weaver, you used 1. Leaving Port Weaver, you had 2 stages, which was enough to get to Skeggy. Due to the storm, you add another stage. So for the last couple of days until you get to Skeggy, you do not have food for that stage. For the current one, you have enough. So for the next one, you don't.
Okay.
Hey, I will use my herbalism thingy to actually look for fruits that are edible.
Okay. Here's some foraging.
What is that? Outdoor survival?
Yep.
Ooh. Is
Yep.
it what difficulty?
It's gonna be difficult, but then you
So
can
minus
add
10.
the trade.
Got it.
Hey, nice.
Damn, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick us a bunch of fruit.
Let me see how many people you can feed with that.
Oh, and I didn't add in the other bonus you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire time, I'm gonna say, Tahetakai, can I eat this? Tahetakai, can I eat this? Tahetakai, can I eat this?
Yes. No. 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 No.
Sometimes.
Yes.
What about this one? Oh, okay. And I'll pick a bunch of that one.
Maybe.
This one?
Maybe leave that.
I'll just toss it back.
I love the idea that Tahetakai is giving us like, yes, lizardmen can eat these things.
You know what? It was safe for him. It should be safe for you.
With
I
the
mean, yeah, he's part bird lizard.
It'll be fine.
with the foraging, that's going to be enough for 2 people out of the 6.
Okay, so that's me and Tahetakai, because he's the one helping me.
That's fine.
Honestly, since we're not dealing with any fatigue conditions, and the weather seems to be just awful instead of mildly destructive, I think it might just be better to keep going more than anything.
What we could do is look for a giant snake. Like, I don't mean sorry, let me rephrase that.
Not again!
A big snake, like a ball python. Not like a mythical snake that is going to kill me out of some water.
Oh, okay.
Somebody should hunt that, because snakes are insanely easy to kill and very stupid.
This makes Sotek sad.
Can the hunter do some hunting? Because I am not good at it at all. I can only get lucky with finding shelter so many times.
I can. If I fail and get a fatigue condition, like I have a 28 to succeed with the minus 20.
Ooh.
You got this.
So it might be better to wait till the next thing to do it then, because I might have 10% better chances, and if I fail this one, I'm going to have the same or worse chances.
Yeah, we have enough.
Stage.
We have enough to get through this stage. So let's maybe see what the next stage has for us.
True. I might be. Well, I did get a bunch of money, so we might be question mark be able to do something at the next stop. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, and while I'm foraging, I will find like small grubs to feed my little lizard.
Grub.
I just imagine he's sitting on my shoulder, just shooting his tongue out at everything.
He is living a very convenient life on your shoulder. He doesn't really do everything that you like. You're not able to really train him at this moment.
No, he's a lizard. They're very stupid. You can't
but
train
he
them.
is able to. Well, he's a Lustrian lizard, so.
So he's even dumber.
Little do you realize he's fully sapient. he just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, honestly, the lizard slender here is wild.
I heard sapien. He's a monkey.
Lustria be wild like that.
It do be wild.
Look at this lizard. Alea, Ashley, that's a monkey.
Exactly.
No, it's my lizard.
So as you continue your way to the jungle, the mosquito bites eventually pass. As there are no more endeavors, so we're gonna do. Officially, you guys empty all of your supplies as you keep going. So, who wants to roll, and do they want to roll for weather or encounter?
Encounter, me. I call dibs.
So roll a d100.
Ooh, a low number.
17. Cool. Let me roll for weather. I bought a set of dice just for this adventure.
Wait, no, oh yeah, you're checking for weather.
Yeah,
I was about to say, wait, I wanted to roll for monster encounter.
Yeah, I have to roll for both every time. Okay. Alright.
Also, I built all my skinks.
Nice.
On the 10th day, so another 10-day pass into the beginning of your last step on this journey before you arrive to Skeggy. The sun rises unimpeded. You can even see it through the canopy of the trees. All is well. The weather is very pleasant. Not too heated, not too windy, not too cold, not too wet. For all of you, I think this is the first time where the weather is actually pleasant.
What is happening?
Sotek blesses us. Final leg of journey. Easy.
Alright, back to muggy heat.
I'll take that over the rain any day.
Alright, now we're going for endeavors. Who wants to make an endeavors?
Berard will attempt to find food.
Alright.
Can anyone move the expedition token?
I can't select it.
I cannot move it, no.
Interesting. Well,
I am gonna roll to get us some more food.
Hot damn.
That is what
well
I'm
done,
gonna
Berard.
do.
so Berard, that's going to be food
For 10 people with traps.
10 people. Okay.
We're also
God
getting...
damn.
We're pretty close to Skeggy, so I'm going to do a keep watch roll.
Okay,
What's
very
the difficulty for foraging for fruits?
It's going to be, I don't know, around this place. I would say that's going to be challenging.
All right.
It's close enough to Skeggy.
No.
Whoa.
Well,
Are these fortune points worthy? Don't know.
ha, not in my book. I will just be shit at watch this time.
I just
Also
imagine I
sleep on
keep
bread.
finding all of the fruits that you said were bad, and that's all I find.
You did
Basket
roll an
said no
impressive
to that one.
failure, so I'm
no to that
actually...
No to that one. No to that one. No to this one.
That one's not
Is there
actually a fruit.
anything
It's
edible?
actually a venomous caterpillar. It just looks
Gives
like a
pets.
banana.
Yeah,
Okay, so you joke about that, but there's a thing called the banana spider, which can kill people.
Yeah, I am familiar with those through a friend.
you rolled an impressive failure in your foraging for food test, which means you are poisoned. So honestly, a banana snake would not be...
I'll
Some
reroll
kind
it.
of banana snake would be...
Alright, it's not bad.
She rerolled.
Okay. Yeah, reroll, so no problem. You were able to avoid any snake bites or anything like that.
Can I still collect poisonous fruit?
No, because that would necessitate a successful.
This is the way he said it. Funny.
So all of you guys are able to get together food. You get a food for one more stage for this stage, and plus 4 enough for 4 people. So whoever wants to make a note out of that.
I'll be back in just a second. I have to take a call.
Okay. As you guys are treading through the jungle, Tehetakai, you're the first one to notice. To your right, so in the direction of the coast, you begin seeing some figures, some large figures that are very distinguishable because they are not made of wood. They're not brown or green. They seem to be made of stone. Kind of like catches your attention as if like these like large buildings. You see them through the canopy, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what it is. But it is something you notice to your side. Do you wish to investigate it? Okay.
Yes, I would like to investigate that.
You
Wait, what are we
guide.
investigating?
You guide the group to closer to the eastern coast, and you see a series of gigantic stone heads that are looking out towards the sea. You see a lot of these monuments, as far as the eye can see, habitating the coast. And you see many of them reptilian, many of them humanoid, and others that are too far gone, or that are depicting something you cannot really identify what it is. You still see like the features, the eyes and the mouths, and some of them have hands and arms, kind of like jousting from inside the earth, grabbing things like swords or staffs or pieces of like broken stone you cannot identify.
So me and the whole party can see this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tahatkai, what is this?
Not sure. Warm blood. Do I think my people built this or the Warm Bloods built it?
Roll me. Make an intelligence check. Say average.
Okay, I do have a -10 because of fatigue. Ooh, I'm not very smart.
For those that want like a little bit of a visual reference, they kind of look like Easter Island.
Yeah, that's
figures.
what I figured. Yeah, I got a -4.
Only much larger. You have no idea.
Can
You
I
have
roll
never
an
heard of
intelligence
these.
test?
Not
you
sure.
can, sure. Actually, you can roll me evaluate if you want to.
Ooh.
Either intelligence or evaluate. Both are valid.
Berard can assist with the evaluate as he talks about, well, back home in the Drakworld, you're not supposed to go near strange
Oh.
stone monolith stuff.
So I got 3 success levels with that.
Actually, as you get closer to these, by the way, these are hundreds of meters tall. They are enormous, like different from the Easter Island ones. They are gigantic, and as you get closer, it's hard to say with like 100% certainty, but all of the features of the stone don't have any markings on them.
It doesn't look like they were built with conventional tools.
And
So
they seem to be so old that it is kind of weird, because you saw some little pieces of like lizardman stuff. You saw how Tehatakai's gear is made, and some features of the lizardmen that attacked you guys on Port Weaver. This is different. It's weird. It has markings that can't really identify.
Well, I wouldn't call it conventional tools if they're built. I don't even think I could sling a stone up that high.
Must be Shook.
What, Shook, big?
No, Shook is. He fiddles for a word and says, magic.
Oh, magic. Like which?
Not witch. Witch chaos.
Right, magic.
Yes. Good magic.
I don't know what the priest would say about that.
Ka Shook.
They'd probably say that.
Ka Shook. Ka is bad?
No. Cause he fiddles for him with his fingers a bit, kind of like tapping them across the small little pouch where he keeps what little things he has, before saying, revered ones, great ones.
Oh, that's your good magic.
Yes, yes.
Ka Tehetakai. Right? Good Tehetakai?
Close. Good. Close. Close. Good try.
You broke his character. I'll put my hand on the stone.
It feels weird.
Stony.
It feels very smooth for stone, especially stone that has been left for like basically under the wind for who knows how many years. Doesn't have the, natural rock has a little bit of like, has a feeling of like the not only the weather but like life growing on it, and usually is not as smooth in like as a perfect plane. It doesn't have bumps or indents on it. It is just a flat surface. And it feels tingly, kind of like static as you touch
I'm
it.
gonna smack it with my stick a few times.
Just smack it. No real damage to the stone.
Ding, 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 ding. Well, they're interesting.
Shall we leave an offering or a prayer? Maybe that can keep the weather going good?
I, Tetekai, make offering to old ones.
Egon is curious if there would this be around the time when we would be making camp, or are we close enough to Skeggy that would be?
You would probably still have a couple days journey.
In that case, Egon is very curious if there happens to be a statue that is cavernous, for a lack of a better term. Or perhaps like it's standing on 4 legs so that it would provide some shelter from the sky at least.
All of these statues that you can see are just the head, kind of like out of the ground. Some of them have hands out, like a couple of meters away, as if it was like a full statue. None of them seem to have been suffering under the weather that it formed any cavernous.
No, like
box.
just the type of statue. Like, is it just like humanoid-ish things, or is there like, I don't know, a giant like
Lizard?
a giant like like a conch shell like statue somewhere? Or
no,
anything like that?
You do see some humanoid ones. Some of them do look like lizardmen, so some of them you do recognize the kind of formatting of Tehetakai's head. And some of them have different reptile-looking forms. One you do identify, it looks like the Croxigor head, which is much larger and wider, like almost squared. However, some of them look very odd. It gives you the feeling that you can't really identify what they're supposed to be. It's kind of hard to describe.
Well, Egon does sort of wander around looking for anything that might be usable, but he kind of gives up through like the 4th lizardman standing. Alright. In that case, we keep moving.
Alright.
Alright, as we move along, Berard's gonna go up to Tehetakai. Can you walk just a little bit slower? You're pretty fast through the jungle. That's what this is called, right? This kind of forest?
Yes. Jungles of Lustria, yes.
Can you walk a little bit slower? Please.
Tetekai. Shuk.
Magic?
No. Shuk. Many meaning. Here, Shuk mean match warm bloods.
Oh, alright. Ka. He will grin.
No. Not Ka.
What are you saying? Alright, your language is very tricky. I can understand why it's called Saurian.
Sorry.
I will chuckle at that in character.
Tehetekai will just bobble his head up and down in some form of acknowledgement. But he will move a bit slower. Before we leave the heads, can I attempt to either, like, stealth or outdoor survival or something? I'd like to try and capture some kind of little critter, like a little lizard or a bird or a snake or something, just to make, like, a very small sacrifice offering to Sotek at these monuments before we move on.
I think Berard rolled well enough that you can easily, like, we can use his roll as, like, you find a little smallish bird, almost like a size of a parrot.
Neat. I'm gonna catch it, and then I will bring it before the statues, and Tehetekai will say a very, very brief and small prayer in Saurian, basically calling out to Sotek to guide our fury and provide us with the wit and grit, so to speak, to strike down the ancient enemy. And then he's going to stab the bird and kind of rip it open, smear blood on one of the statues. Typical lizard shenanigans. Eat the heart, and then be like, yeah, good job, me. And move on.
Bird will throw one of his boar tusks down after Tehetekai moves next to the sacrifice. He's like, please let the weather continue to be sunny. Please let the weather continue to be sunny.
I want both of you to make me fellowship checks in challenging.
Fellowship? Ugh. That's my one weakness, next to guns and sharp objects.
Guns and sharp objects are like a lot of things, to be fair. Okay. You make your offerings and kind of like leave your
if I
prayers
do
and-
hear what Berhard says, Tehetekai will look back at him and the tusk and say, "Not right offering for Sotek."
What's the right offering then?
Something burn. Chili.
I think he wants you to put chili there.
No, chili. Not
Oh,
chili.
fire!
Yes. Sotek, ever burning one. Favors flame, favors heat.
What about stuff you use to make flame? Will that work?
He. I don't think Tehetekai
I'll
would
leave
have.
it up to you.
Tehetekai's crest lowers a bit as he's actually not entirely sure of the specifics. Like, this is kind of falling under that, like, gray territory, and he'll say, "Question for priest, not Tehetekai."
Well, I'll just
You
have to
have a
try with
question
this.
for me?
What'd you say, Ashley?
He will take it.
You have a question for a priest?
Skink priest.
I
Yeah.
am not a skank priest.
Hmm.
That's
No.
not
Actually-
the only one.
No, you not.
I'm not a priestess of Raya.
Ashling, if I was to give a fire god a bow for making fire, you think that would count as an offering?
I just, I'd assume that it would, but it also might anger the god themselves, as you did not give them the direct offering and essentially made it as an insult. You make the fire versus I can make the fire. I think it depends more on how you give it, the offering. The meaning behind the offering versus the actual offering.
I love the idea of, like, giving that to a fire god. They're just like, "Oh, you're saying I'm not good at my job?"
Well, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, though.
I mean, You could go for
Here,
irony
you
points.
need help.
You could go for irony points and burn it as a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Brad will look at Matt and Freed. That's a good idea. Hedge in your bets, both of them at once. We got enough time for me to make a fire real fast.
If weather holds.
Yeah, I just
Well,
hope so.
Seems like that would be a definite good thing to do. Brad will start a fire and then throw his makeshift firebow he made into the fire and ask, please let it not rain and be sunny. Ka. And then he will nod his head.
Both of you to make 2 requests. Okay.
Statues are like, oh, someone.
You feel a little.
In Berard's head, he's asked for one thing via 2 descriptions.
The gods are like, think it's like that, huh? See how it is. Alright.
Hey, this guy's double dipping.
Lightning strikes. You feel the kind of like, as you make the fire, kind of like throw it, the contact with the stone gives the static, funny feeling in your body, but you don't really get a sense of it if it worked or not. It's gonna be kind of like
Tatka will
offering.
stand next to Berard and say, "Quit."
Move it? Alright.
Sure. He will follow after Berard, assuming Berard has finished and is ready to move on.
I can imagine Berard gives a step to the side. Tatka steps to the side as well and notices Berard is not moving and just starts moving forward. He's like, oh, okay. As you start moving and you start going through the jungle, I'm assuming nobody else wants to do any scenes.
Berard's gonna follow and mimic Tatkai's movements as he's going through the jungle now that he's slowed down.
Okay.
Ashling is also going to do the same, but in an insulting manner.
Is Egon doing anything?
I think
Victor?
Victor fell asleep.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to something else. Alright, my bad.
Wow, what a dick.
Cool.
Sorry,
Worse
my
than
bad.
falling asleep.
Caught
always good to be
in
respected.
red-handed.
It's always good to be respected.
Apologies.
You don't get a scene. That's on you. As you begin to go ahead and make your way in this last leg of the journey, Tahetakai, you notice something. It's weird. Like one of those days, it's like passing. You passed by the heads a long time ago. It's deep into the jungle. You find a little spring, and as you're gathering water, you look upwards, and you see a figure between the forests, between the trees. It looks at you dead in the eye and just stays immobile as it looks to you.
Do I have a description of what it is?
It has beady white eyes, giant ears, a very, very lanky and thin body, and 2 leathery wings that are kind of like flapping downward. Kind of like, not flapping, it's like just loose to the sides. It looks a little bit like this.
Whoa.
Oh. Do I know what this thing is?
It is a giant bat.
That's okay, that's fair. I walked into that. Okay, rephrase. Do I know if this thing is particularly dangerous?
You know it's not particularly dangerous. It's not like combative or strong, but it is a creature that hunts people and hunts travelers.
Okay, that's fair. Tatakai will turn to the party, and he'll say, "Warm bloods care."
Care about what?
He will indicate. He'll kind of like make a move down gesture, and say, "Bihwini."
I'm not even gonna pretend he said what I heard he said.
Yeah, same. I'm just gonna look up where he's pointing.
You see 5 of these creatures behind.
Alright, so I pull
trees.
out my gun.
They keep staring. They are a couple of like 100 meters away. By the way, they're quite far away from you.
Caution!
Bernard, throw a rock at them.
No, don't. Don't want to.
Why not? We might scare them away.
No, they might attack.
Or they
Or
get
will
scared
they-
away.
They're
They
far
look
enough
pretty
away.
big.
That's not
They're around the
interesting.
size of a halfling.
It's
Or-
really big.
It would be actually the size of Tehetakai. There would be around the size of
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Tehetakai. They are small, and Tehetakai is small.
Yeah. Tatakai will say, "If hungry, may attack. Otherwise, no."
So bats usually have lots and lots of them, like hundreds, and they fly in huge. Also
They're-
flocks or swarms.
It could be a murder. But regardless, what we could do is just kill another animal and just leave it out as bait for them. Why would they pursue a fight when there's a free meal for them?
They prefer shozankas.
I
Ha-
prefer sweets, but you know, that's just me.
Have taste for Zek.
What's a zek?
He tries. He kind of thinks for a moment, and he just kind of like points at Berard.
I think he means hunter.
I thought that was a chol. I'm a chol, is what you said. How
You,
am I a zek too?
Berard. Cho. He goes, yes, but also Zek. Zek.
I don't think it means what you.
Zek not belong. Zek come from across World Pond. Zek intruders.
So chol is like the positive term, and zek is the not positive term.
Cho. It's gonna probably go to light the mission here. Cho is warm blood. So he'll point at like the bat and say Cho, and then point at Berard again and say also Cho.
Alright.
Points at Twin Tail. Not Chol?
No.
Not
Chol is
cold.
outsider. He can't be an outsider.
No,
Lizards aren't
Zek.
warm-blooded.
Zek intruder. Outsider. Cho warm blood.
Why do you
Man.
say Chol meant an outsider then? Alright.
Outsiders have warm blood. Tetekai, no.
What about lizards from other countries?
Lizards, no.
Well, okay then.
Just to be clear, no is not a word that means something other than negative, not affirmative. incorrect, right?
Very tempting to answer a particular way. Tantakai will just bob his head up and down.
Oh, good. Thought I was going to be confused there.
You know, this feels like a narrative opportunity to swap into interpreter.
Tantakai will
saying.
kind of gesture forwards and say, "Chook."
That way?
Tantakai's gonna kind of try and take an angle around the bats, like curve far past them, so we can get out of their line of sight, and say, "Follow Tantakai, gok gok."
All right.
As you move,
Pick up
you
speed.
see they blink and they jump upwards and disappear into the canopy.
Ugh.
And you
Tantakai
hear
will
I
pause.
these
told you, it would have
flapping.
scared him.
Tantakai will pause and kind of look up and say, Chohua. And he's going to ready his quarterstaff, looking upwards.
Yeah, weapons are drawn. The
So-
near future.
What I need from all of you is a challenging charm animal roll.
Check it. I got this. You're
Let
ready?
me give the rules first before I start rolling. For every failed test, a character is going to suffer 10 damage, lose a trapping or resource, or have an NPC ally disappear. You can choose which of the results is going to happen. But you're going to have to choose one of the results for each failure that all of you get. I am not
Okay,
going to
let's go.
include the NPCs in this because they are a
I
feature that is
succeed.
going to disappear. So
He said it's challenging.
challenging, yeah.
Oh boy.
I hug one.
Oh boy.
We're friends now.
Oh god.
A priori, that's 2 failures.
No, I don't like being fatigued. I'm gonna reroll.
That's not going to count for fatigue. That's always going to only going to count for the result of like damage, trapping, or NPC. Because that's not an endeavor; it's going to be only encounter.
No. I mean,
Nailed it.
I am fatigued from an earlier fail.
Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
Okay. I am going to fortune point reroll.
Gerard, are you keeping?
I'm going to fortune point reroll.
It was worth it. Oh no!
No.
Something
No.
bad's about to happen.
So, one of you is going to suffer 10 points of damage in a random location. A valuable trapping or resource from the group is going to be stolen, or an NPC ally is going to disappear. I need all of
Bye,
you to choose which.
NPCs.
I mean, Berard failed the check, so
No.
I will allow him to enjoy the consequences of his actions.
Yeah.
Do we get to choose who takes the wounds, or is it random?
To my knowledge, the
Let me rephrase. Berard is the person who failed terribly. Is he's the one who gets hit with the
You guys can
damage?
choose. If you guys choose to take the damage, you can choose who is going to take the damage.
I vote for Berard.
I think that's
we
that's
have
the
a
liking
priest.
of it.
Berard is willing to take 10 wounds to the body.
Well, it's gonna be in a
Is
random
that-
location.
Oh, random location. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't own armor.
Oh, are you? I
Is
mean, are you
anyone-
sure?
I
We could just
I-
have them take an item from us.
You know what?
He said valuable item.
Yeah, that's
Wounds are ephemeral.
We have a
Trappings are
priest.
forever.
All right. I will not argue if Berard's cool with that. I'm not gonna argue against it.
Berard's cool with it. He has 3 fate points for the inevitable Skeggy combat.
Here comes the scream. Oh, it wasn't the
Okay.
body. There you go.
It's going to be
Look at
10
that.
damage to the body to you, Berard.
Does that ignore toughness bonus?
No, armor and toughness bonus apply.
All right.
What happens,
then I
Mr.
take
GM?
7 wounds.
As you guys are trying to kind of like go around or through the creatures, they harass you for days. They try getting your supplies, your goods, and you see that there is an amount of malicious intent and intelligence on them. Because they are not only targeting you, they're targeting your things. So like Tehetakai's quarterstaff is almost stolen at one point. Berard's sling, Egan's machete, Ashling's crowbar. There's a sense of like
Don't you touch my fucking crowbar.
the things that are almost. If you guys chose to lose one precious
You
thing,
would
it
have
was
taken
going
the
to
damn
be
crowbar.
it was going to be the crowbar.
I love the idea
So
of Ashley
bad.
being like, I have a vow of pacifism, but not for this. just starts wailing.
Whack.
Scene points are a resource, motherfucker. So yeah, you see that they have an intelligence, and they are trying to trying to wound you, but also wounding your things. And it's impossible to really know how many of them are, because they come up so fast, and they just like swoop you in the middle of the day, making very little noise, and then go away. So it's kind of this battle of endurance, because they never engage you in battle. They just try to catch your things and catch you off guard, and things like that. Eventually, one of you Berard is focusing on something else, and one of the creatures tries grabbing something out of Berard and just like swipes at Berard's chest, leaving a large gash on his chest that bleeds a hell. And you see that the gash is very, very profound. So these things do hit a little bit like trucks. They're not interested in engaging in battle. They're just interested in what you have. So
They're just asshole magpies with claws and teeth.
essentially, yes. However, you are able to avoid them. The weather stays at least until you get to the city of Skeggy.
Praise be.
I imagine all the times that the bats are coming for me, it's just Ashling trying to pet them.
Yeah,
The bats are just white woman. Ah!
the white woman syndrome.
Please.
They feel that they hear boss music.
Um,
Now,
Yeah.
does this warrant a healed test to give Berard some wounds back?
anyone that hasn't done an endeavor can still do endeavors right now.
Okay, what
Well,
about
I attempted an endeavor and I failed, so I cannot.
I would count healing as an endeavor. I think there is a specific endeavor that says heal.
you?
Woo!
It would be make camp.
Sure, I'll reroll this. Hey, critical
Yeah,
success.
there you go.
Okay. So that's going to be how many wounds back?
Oh.
So SL plus intelligence bonus.
Yeah, so 3
Does a crit do
plus
anything here?
4. So 4.
Crit doesn't do anything here.
Alright. So yeah, 4 wounds back.
Well, thank you,
Which-
Ashling. I got hit only because I was looking after that crowbar after the last time they came after it.
Thank you for protecting my crowbar.
Well, Manfred seems to really like it.
Slaps Berard on the back. You did a good thing, man.
Tehetakai's like, oh, there must be some notable religious importance to this strange metal stick. Look how the humans are bonding over it.
Alright.
We'll start the cult of crowbar.
The you see that as you're beginning to get closer to Skeggy, the weather stays as it is, but there is a change in atmosphere after a while. You start getting from jungle to a little bit more of a swampy area, and the coast brings this. It's not as heavy as Swamp Town. Swamp Town was horrible, but like this place is just like a little bit more sludgy, a little bit harder to track. Your boots are starting to really get into the earth itself, and all of you do notice at this point that you have been traveling for a long time. This is going to be almost a month out of traveling. I would say, with the exception of Tehetakai, all of you are not like fatigued. It is not a condition. You are exhausted of this. You are soaring. You are exhausted. You are miserable. You haven't been able to really take a bath or change clothes really for this entire journey in a good way. And
Wait, how is not taking a bath in a good way a thing?
in a good is not the word I was searching for. It was like major way. Sorry. So you have been able to like change a little bit of like washing your clothes and things like that for the great amount of muck, but you have not been able to change things like underwear or gloves or even boots. So like there is an amount of just like jungle muck that is permanently just like stuck to you, that even washing for the low amount of time you have is not enough.
Sounds like warm blood problems.
Yeah, Tezuka, you're peaceful in a way, but I would say even for a cold-blooded creature like you, this is stressful because you are bringing 3 warm bloods, or sorry, not 3, 5 warm bloods through this environment, and it is very, very stressful to keep them alive. Even if they're not doing anything wrong, there's this stress that comes with looking so that they don't do anything wrong.
Not doing anything wrong. We have Aisling with us.
I will rephrase that.
To make sure she doesn't die.
Even when they're not doing anything wrong, like all of them, it's still very stressful.
The old ones test me.
I need all of you to make me a perception check, please.
Perception, eh?
It's going to be challenging for all of you.
20? Ooh. I have recently bumped.
I don't need to bump mine.
Woo,
oh, neither do I.
What the fuck?
Everybody
we see everything.
Wow, a 4, a 2, and a 1.
Hey, I hit dead center on just enough.
Hey, if it counts, it counts.
Look, bullseye is still a success.
All right. So all of you, as you're walking through the jungle, you hear. This was very hard. I'm very impressed. Jesus Christ.
Praise Knuckle.
Aisling,
Tatakai, and Egon, you see something in the jungle that doesn't belong. There's a massive trunk of a tree that has these like a large amount of what are the name of these those green things that fall out of the canopy of trees that are like people swing on them?
Vines?
Yeah, vines.
Yeah, that would be fine. Yeah, thank you. You see that there's a large amount of these like cylindrical vines coming out of the from the top of the tree up to the bottom. And in the middle of them, what you think is a tree, you actually see a very faint gold shining of a door.
Walk towards it.
Follow suit.
Twin
Tail, what the hell are we looking at?
Wait, what? Sorry, what's in the vines?
Inside the vines, there is a you see a bunch of these. It's like a very large tree that has a bunch of vines around it. Usually, it's just like the trunk of the tree is very large and it has a very thick top to it. So there's a very large amount of vines falling from it, and but what you see is that actually on the middle of it, it's not a tree. It's seems to be like a faint gold door.
What the hell? Is this is this before, like, is this in the settlement of Skeggy, or is this just outside the settlement?
Before Skeggy, you have not arrived in Skeggy.
Oh, okay.
It's a couple of. It's like you should be arriving in Skeggy in a couple of hours.
Okay. Tetekai is going to kind of look at it and say, Tetekai, not been here.
Anyone opposed to the seeing if that gold door has any, smaller gold things behind it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna continue walking directly up to it.
You scared?
Holy,
Gold often trap here.
leaves a gold door next to a tree.
I don't think it's laying next to it.
You arrive close to the door, and you see it seems to be like a shut door. You see around it there's a structure of stone that seems to be cylindrical in shape. It's almost as if like someone removed just the wood part of the tree and made a cylindrical building and like put it in place. You see this golden door. It seems to be very old, so the gold is not this like shiny bright. It seems to be a little faded. But what you do identify, it seems to be a line that has the symbol of a sun. It seems to be either the sun rising or the sun setting. It's difficult to see because it's just a drawing.
Are there any lizardmen? Do I see any lizardmen secret signs anywhere?
You can make me an average roll for secret signs.
Come on.
Really wish I didn't have
Do it.
fatigue. All right, average.
You could use a resolve to remove the fatigue.
Ha! Yeah, if I had resolve.
This is where I'd put my resolve, if I had any.
Nah, -3.
So, Hatakai, what you notice is the lack of secret sign. There doesn't seem to be anything drawn by lizardmen or anything, or at least nothing you can really notice.
All right. He'll kind of, his crest will like flare up a bit and turn like a deeper red than it normally is, and he'll kind of back away a little bit and say, "Tetekai, no like this."
Or there are often trees or doors on trees
No,
with gold.
no, this Kai.
Ashling
Hmm.
holds up
What's
hand.
Kai?
I'm just gonna stop and stare at it.
Old. So
You stare at it. Nothing seems to be
old
happening.
and not known by any. Unknown.
I'm gonna pick up a rock and throw it at it.
Ah, the classic.
Yeah, it does a very metallic sound as it hits, but it doesn't seem to disfigure the door in any way. It just falls and kind of bounces on the ground afterwards.
Alright.
Does this door have a handle?
An
An obvious way to open?
Doesn't seem to have a handle, but you could push it.
We could also use the crowbar.
Holds out hand for crowbar.
Passes crowbar.
Thanks,
How
crowbar.
much gold do you think is on that door?
I don't know.
Enough
Might
to fund
be,
a church?
Enough to buy a midball team, maybe?
A
Those are-
live one or
Those are two
before or
very
after the
different.
game?
Those are two very different ways to evaluate wealth.
I mean, we all have it evaluate, so. Alright. Crowbar in hand. Egon bravely steps forth where apparently no lizardman has stepped. And does the door look like completely tight against the rock?
It seems to be tight against the rock, yes.
Ooh. That's worrying. Alright.
Crowbar
Before anything else, he is going to attempt to sort of like push on it, like with like increasing amounts of strength to see if it budges or not.
It opens. It just slides forward, like on its hinges and opens.
Hang on. Throws rock inside.
You see that the rock kind of like falls to the ground, and then
Dwayne Johnson, no.
after a couple seconds, the rock is thrown back.
Ah!
Hello.
Incoming!
Nice to meet ya.
Who are you?
Well, I'm
Wait.
Berard.
Wait, do we see someone?
From the darkness, you start seeing someone stepping out of the door. You see a human.
All right, pull out my gun. Jokes.
Stop it.
Anyway,
Tactikai is gonna have his quarterstaff ready because he does not like this.
You see a woman. She has dark skin and darker lips, and she has like a cloak, a white cloak over her head with some details in blue, and she has a bit of a kind of like a spear on one of her hands and a little buckler on the other. And you see many symbols of gold, brass, and silver hanging. And on the cloak, there's a piece of the cloak that goes between her legs that has a symbol of what seems to be a bird with their wings open.
can I roll lore theology on this person?
You can, yeah.
Egon is a bit too shocked right now to speak.
I'm trying to find the image here.
There are many things he was expecting behind the golden door. This was not it.
She looks like this, but without the breastplate.
Freaking Mermidian.
Hey.
And
Okay,
you see she
I'm-
peers outside and kind of like looks to the side and looks to other and says, How did you find this place?
Well, you do have a door made of gold.
I
Well,
did give away.
yes, but she points with the spear, and you see around the place where you are, around this like little clearing, there are trunks hanging from vines, spikes ready to fall. You see at least a dozen traps that none of you trigger.
Oh, Berard will just pull out some of his trap-making kit.
Tactikai looks
Fascinating.
around nervously.
Did you see the traps, at least?
No.
Well, not really, but, you know those bat things? They've been giving us hell, really. So we've been kind of looking out for stuff.
Those not here before. Tactikai speaks up from the back.
And you see she kind of gives you a smile and says, "Oh, you have one of the lizard folk with you. It's good to know."
Oh, that's Twin Tail. Don't worry, he's harmless to
I
us.
am aware. Well, not all of them are harmless, but some of them are friendly enough.
He lifted a shark and tossed it meters. What do you mean harmless?
I
Well.
said to us.
She looks around, and you see she does a sign, and around 15 warriors emerge from the trees around you. All of them have like a similar gear, plus like the kind of like a chainmail. Some of them men, some of them women, and you see they kind of like walk forward and says, "Well, if they had found this place, then might be the goddess's intervention. Are you lost? Do you have food with you? Come
I
in,
am
come in.
hungry.
It would be best for us to stay out of sight. Come inside, please.
Walks in.
We got some food.
Follows Ashling.
And you see this as you
Susankas,
enter.
no!
As you enter, you see this kind of like a round stone, a round stone room with a staircase on each side that goes to like a second floor, and then another one that goes to another floor. And Tahetakai, you enter and you clock as you enter, like it kind of clocks to this. This is a safe house. It's basically, there are a couple of little, like, smaller places that are spread around Lustria that are only known by lizardmen. Usually well protected, there's a bunch of, like, traps and things like that. But from the looks of it, these people have been inhabiting this place for a while now.
He's not going to be thrilled by this discovery, but will not comment. He's going to be more curious how the wars and traps have failed. Because they shouldn't be here.
He kind of nods to the people, and you see the people kind of like, some of them come in also, but some of them go out. And she points towards some of these spaces. You see some pieces of like wool and linen, some kind of like some makeshift beds around the place. There's a little fireplace that has a couple of pans and pots around. You see these people have been kind of like inhabiting this place for a while. And you see she kind of like points to all of you as saying, you found this place, so you may use our hospitality. You are safe as long as you are here. And you do not break our vows, of course.
How long have warm bloods been here?
I do not know. I arrived, gods, a couple of years ago, I think. But this place was already here when I came here.
Oh, so you didn't build a stone thing inside of a tree?
No. I was recruited, actually. I should explain some things. There's some confusion. We are the children of the setting sun. We are members of a sect to Myrmedia who are here to, well, follow the example of our goddess. A long time ago, she left her people and sailed into the west, and so we followed her. Some of us were trapped in the city of Skeggi. Some of us found our way here through natural or unnatural ways. In a way, not much different from what you found. Although, a lot of us are captured instead of just knocking on the door, in a way.
So, you all didn't see us, right? We were stealthy? Because you had a lot of people around.
Well, we're usually very discreet. The people of Skeggy are not very receptive to the likes of us. Some of us were walking, but you did throw a rock at a metal door in a very silent forest, so...
Yeah, it seems like a good idea.
Well, I meant when we went through all the traps.
And you see she kind of looks at some people, and you see a guy that looks to be very disconcerted, and he's like, I really didn't see her. I didn't see them at all. And you see that the woman seems to be kind of like the head priestess here. She pats him on the shoulder and says, well, nothing that a dozen more hours of guarding duty doesn't, solve. And
Berard gives Tehetekai a thumbs up. Great guide.
Tehetekai will be kind of looking at the priestess and sort of quirk his head as he's kind of talk about the setting sun and all this stuff. He has his own theories sort of putting together, but he asks, "You know Skeggy?"
yes, we know of Skeggy.
Going to Skeggy would like knowledge of Skeggy.
Oh. We sometimes go to Skeggy for supplies and for spreading the word of Numidia, so we know the city as well as we can, at least. Can you give us your pointers, yes? What do you want to know?
Skeggy Joe have humans we need. Must free.
Well, finding people in Skeggy is a little difficult, but not impossible.
Well, they were on the South Star, a boat that got taken a month and a half back? Something like that.
The big galleon.
Yeah, with the lots of cannons.
Yes.
6 decks.
The King's Guard was parading with it a couple of days ago. I saw it. I didn't know anyone survived.
Well, some fled, but we still got some people in there somewhere with some gang or something. Captured.
Well, if they were captured, they were probably turned into slaves, as you say. They call them thralls, but essentially slaves. And then after being captured and turned into slaves, it's going to be really hard to find them. They're going to be spread around the city, so... But they might still be in the beach. Worth looking out for it, at least. There's a little place for the recently captured slaves. It's, and she kind of makes gathers some of the dirt on the ground and kind of does a little bit of a drawing. And she says, in Skeggy, there's a seawall, but there's also a spit, kind of like a little, almost like a horn of the land that leads into the ocean. There's a house there that they keep the recently enslaved. That's where they keep people. They feed for themselves, and then after they are sold, they're taken out of there and put into whatever house they're needed.
Alright, so if there was someone that was a particularly hard to sell as a slave, they'd probably still be there?
Yeah, probably. Don't take that long to sell usually. But after the riots, it may take a while for them to really start selling slaves again, so I don't know.
There was another riot?
There are usually a couple of them. They challenge the king from time to time. The king has to push down on them. There's a little bit of fighting. There's a lot of fighting, and then things kind of quiet down again. We call them riots, but I would guess they have their own name for it.
Is there secret way in, Skeggy?
She kind of scratches her chin and, well, I suppose you could go by water. It's a little dangerous, but you could. The perimeter fence is very frequently looked after by one of the guards. There's a number of warriors that are dedicated to protecting the walls of the settlement. They're very hard to slip past. So, probably going to be hard to sneak in. But for the creatures like you, I would recommend a cloak. There's no shortage of halflings or mutants getting into the city, so...
Tetekai will
Panthers and Skeggy?
bob his head in acknowledgement.
Sorry?
There's halflings in Skeggy?
Oh, a bunch of them, yeah. There's a bunch of everyone here.
Weird that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of elves, people from Stalia, from Telia, from... I guess you could count people as from Sarkosa, but I wouldn't. Even a lot of people from the Empire.
At this, Egon feels slightly better about moving around it. So yeah. He goes on it. He actually goes to find are there like stone cubes that one could sit on, scattered about?
There are a couple of like stumps of like wood stumps that you could sit on if you want to.
Claim a stump. And
Mhm.
Tetekai will sort of look around a little and say, Tetekai and Truzankas, rest here. Night, prepare for Skeggy.
You
I
may
will sit next to you.
you may rest here if you want to. The city is currently at a flood, so you're probably gonna want to hire a boat or something, unless you're good at swimming.
Tetekai also need cloak.
Oh, I got one for you. Brad will take out his spare cloak.
I'm going to look like a child wearing an adult's
No, you're
suit.
not. You're almost as tall as me.
Oh, never mind then.
Arcane.
Right at that line between small and medium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tetekai will take it and nod to Berard and say, Wacho! Good.
It is a poncho. Gives head pats. Goes and sits down next to Manfred.
He will look at Berard, I suppose, and say, stay here. Leave tomorrow. Yes?
Oh, I could use some rest.
How do I take an item?
You can
from-
just drag that from the chat onto your character sheet, and it will take it.
Neat.
Neato, a burrito.
Oh, sure enough, that worked. Nice. All right. Tetekai is so was this supposed to have some kind of warding magic protecting it from like people finding it?
You have no idea.
That's a good point.
I would say
Tetekai,
you don't have any skill to really know if there was such a thing.
do I sense any like magic through second sight?
Fair point. Not really. No.
Okay. Tetekai is just gonna
this-
kind of make a mental note about all this, and he's going to take up a spot near the fire where it's nice and hot.
Oh, I didn't catch your name.
The priestess looks to you and says, Allura.
Well, thank you for your hospitality, Allura. You say you go into Skeggy. Do you often rent a boat when you do?
when it is flooded, yes, we usually hire a boat.
Oh, do you have a suggestion on a decent chap to hire a boat from?
She kind of scratches her chin a little and says, "Well, whenever you get there, you're gonna get by the west side, so it's going to be probably close to the foreign town. I would skip the first couple of people, get a little wet on the river. The river is walkable, it's just much easier to go by boat. And then as you reach the foreign town, then you should be able to hire some people there that are from usually foreigners. They're going to be easier to negotiate than with Norskans."
All right, thank you.
Problem. And you're gonna smell the scent of like imperial food, so finding the foreign district is not gonna be very difficult. If you want information on anyone that is there is a place, but I don't think any of you are a stallion.
Shake head.
There's a tavern called Eureka. It is a tavern mostly for stallions that are there. They tolerate people from the Empire, so you can drink there no problem. But, well, talking to them is going to be much harder if you don't know a stallion. They are very good at procuring information. I would say if you have someone you're looking for, probably going to be the ones to know. Talking to them is going to be a little harder, but
We already talked to one stallion, that's fine.
Oh, was he a stallion then?
I think so. He sounded like it.
who was this then?
The bartender at the Swamp
Lusty
Town.
Jim?
No, Swamp Town.
Oh, Swamp. Yeah, he was a staff.
The ornery
Hey.
bartender.
Yes.
If you have no way of contacting them, you can hire a translator. They are assholes, most of them, but they do sell their services.
Or
So-
any of your mates to lay in and looking to maybe get hired to do some translating at this tavern?
Make a charm roll for me.
Okay, they are going to hate us.
You got this. If nothing else,
No.
I can cover for you.
'Cause you
Begin
do
the
have
coverage.
She shakes her head and says, "I do have a couple of people that do know Stallion, but I only have a couple, and you are walking with dangerous company." And she looks towards the Hetakai. I do
I
not
look
find
at
them
the
dangerous to
Hetakai.
me, but the members of the city of Skeggy usually don't look fondly upon the lizard folk.
Too busy firebathing.
I am not going to risk a member of my sect, which is already very limited in such a thing, even for money.
Nudge his head over towards Twintail. His kind aren't not welcome, I take it?
From what I hear, his kind have been trying to take Skeggy over and destroy it for only Verena knows how many years. And so they don't really, not big fans.
Be right back.
Good to know. In that case, we can try and keep him secret. Safe.
You should try. People from other regions are not going to care that much, but if the king is made aware that there are lizardmen inside the city, that is going to be problem. There's going to be problem. Sorry. That was me speaking. There are going to be problems.
I mean, her Rexspiel can be a little jilted. Fine.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Alright. pulls out deck of cards. Does anyone know how to play Scarlet Emeralds?
We are not a people fond of gambling.
No.
Dirty
We would-
looks from
we would-
Myrmidians.
we wouldn't be gambling. It's just a nice little game to pass the time. That's all that is.
She looks around, and there's a couple of people that are willing to play, but she dusts herself off and says, oh, look how all of the preparations for everything are going. And she looks towards them and says, no gambling. And they kind of just nod. And as she leaves, they do show up with some tablets of almost like small pieces of biscuit. And they look towards you and says well, each person's share is 5, so we could bet that.
Oh, no. Just look. Egon very quickly realizes that these people are dirt poor, and they're not good marks. So he merely says, just for some entertainment, relax.
Sure, yeah.
Alright.
And yeah, they do agree with some games of Scar Tempers.
All right, nice.
Your
He
friends,
acts as dealer mostly.
your friends, Ingvar and Neof also participate.
Hey,
As they're not huge gamblers, but they, it's hard to be a soldier and not to be, to be a gambler in some way.
Gambler / card player.
Yeah.
So yeah, Egon is, well, just more than anything happy to be out of the wet, the heat. Well, maybe not so, but it's no longer wet and it's no longer muddy. He's very happy to be out of that.
Mm.
Is there a shower here?
She points towards one of the upper floors and says, "Yes, there's.
Oh, thank the gods.
It's a bucket and some natural scrubs, but
Good. Goes and washes
points towards-
clothes and herself.
She notices. Do you have any visible symbols of Shalia on you?
Yes.
Okay.
Including her book hanging from her side, which has a very clear symbol of Shalia.
Oh. She looks towards it and gives you a nod and says, I can provide you with some clean clothes if you would want. They don't have any signs of Myrmidia, but
Are they white?
they are.
Then I shall accept them. Thank you.
She gives you a smile and says, well, as white as things can be in the jungle. But they are ours, and they are well taken care of. So I think they'll take care of you as well.
Perfect.
I'll arrange for some new clothes to be by the baths.
Walks up and goes to take a shower.
I think this would be a good time for us to take the break.
Yep, I was
excellent.
literally just about to say that. Yep,
Yeah.
let's do about 5-ish minutes.
I think we need our once per season shower scene for the anime that's coming up. And then that's it.
That will boost those viewership numbers.
That's
Yep.
going to be only.
Where are my artists?
If anyone
The
wants
funny
the
part
full
is-
version, is going to be Patreon only.
She still has the lizard on her while she's showering.
Quick. Shampoo commercial.
No, it's got to be like a PG-13 anime, so there's convenient clouds in the way.
Right.
Oh yeah, the steam, clouds
Yep.
of steam that manifest.
Convenient clouds of steam, yes.
Or the really awkward ones where they just delete the nipples. It's so weird when they do that because it makes it like it takes it from being, yeah, this is a cute scene, this is kind of sexy, to where'd her nipples go?
Everyone knows that if there are no nipples, it's not sexy. So, you know. That being said,
We are spending the evening here. So are we resuming post evening or before the evening?
that's up to you guys. If anyone wants to make a scene during that time, if no one wants to make any scenes, then we go on the morning as you guys wake up.
Tatakai is good. He's just gonna rest because he's tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same.
Broad doesn't need a scene, but he will look at the traps outside, and then before he goes to bed.
Okay. And Egon?
No, mostly just chilling with Ingvar and Eggwolf and any other Myrmidian that wants to play some cards.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I want to see how he does for the evening. 1 month. So this will just be challenging. Actually, yeah. Technically opposed. Hey, look at that. That's pretty good. But I'm not cheating, so it'd only be a +2. Actively not cheating.
It's very difficult for him.
Let's see how the others go.
Oh, jeez. Poor guy.
Yeah, Igor doesn't seem to have any luck as he's playing with you guys. But he seems to be very content in that. Doesn't say anything. He just quietly plays. It's a very there's a contest between you and Ingvar, as you're both kind of like playing. You're both like the last two players standing after a while. It's very frequent that people either fold or lose, and like it's up to you guys. Yep.
Nice. What's his gamble, perchance?
What?
Is his gamble higher than mine?
No, his gamble is lower than.
Nice. All right, just making sure.
Mm-hmm. The night passes. You guys are left alone. It's way more comfortable here due to the fact that it's a closed off space. There are some makeshift beds and some good places to rest. The members of the Children of the Setting Sun kind of leave you guys alone for the most of it. You are given some basically some bread and some fish, very meager meals, but just enough that you guys can feed yourselves easily. And on the next day you guys leave this little hideout, and you see that Alina, as she kind of like points you outside, she just asks for you to stay quiet about this place. People of Skeggi don't really like the Children of the Setting Sun, so this is as much as a hideout as they can have, and it would be best for everyone if they could keep this place. And if you ever found yourselves here or around, you are welcome to stay with them, as long as you can help them in their efforts. As she points to some of the kind of like hidden gardens and farms that they have.
In the event that it's not already on the map, could we get a marker at some point for where this is?
I am having some problems regarding the foundry. For some reason, it's not allowing me to draw or drag or do anything. But evenally, whenever I get control back from the evil gods of Foundry, whenever I wrestle control back from the evil gods of Foundry, I'll make a pointer for you guys. And you guys keep going. Berard, you notice then a lot of the traps seem to be very well made. Some of them have a couple of years. Some of them are like a couple of years old. So you see that some of them do have history in regards to like they were probably made by the people that founded this little coat and that found this little place. And they haven't, like a lot of them haven't been updated. They basically just been reset whenever they are triggered by something. And they use this for both hunting, for like gathering prey and things like that, and also for protection, just to avoid that people, if someone ever comes across too closely, they probably die instantly. A lot of them are just these very rudimentary but very like functional traps. It's just like a trunk that hits people on the head. And as you guys are leaving, sorry,
The classics.
the classics. Some of them are just like these kind of like scarring like walls of spikes that just like swing into the person. But yeah, you kind of notice that they have a plethora of traps here, and there are signs that these traps have been used. So there are crashed skulls and rests of skeletons that are kind of like kept out of the way, but that show that these traps have been used in the past.
Good thing
You
we
guys
missed
keep
all
going.
those.
Sorry?
Good thing we missed all those.
Yeah. Rolling a 1 will do that for you.
Hey.
Not only a 1, but a 2 and a 4. Ironically,
And
that does.
nobody-
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see a group get a try crit.
It was more of a. I thought it would be more interesting for you to find the very hidden thing and not find the giant trunk flying overhead. But yeah.
Look, Ashling's aura protected us. That's how that went.
Yeah.
For sure. You begin to arrive into, and like doesn't take too long until you get to the space where the city of Skeggy is. The first thing you see is this very high wall of spiked trunks of trees. You see a little watchtower and what seems to be the beginning of a road that is overgrown by bushes and plants. The trees go up to the wall, and some of them seem to be almost like growing over the wall. But you also see that there are a couple of soldiers on some like palisades that have axes that are cutting the pieces of the tree. And you see, as kind of like morning is already, it would be around as you arrive, it would be like 10 a.m. Close to midday. There are people hard at work pushing the forest, pushing the jungle back. You see that a lot of the jungle is very, very close to the settlement itself, but there's an effort from people to kind of like push it away. You see a large amount of people wearing very simple tunics, very thin, seeming to be very tired, that have these like very large axes and are hacking away at like tree trunks and bushes and pieces of shrubbery and things like that. And you see, as you arrive in this little portion, you see around like 30 people doing this, and behind them you see around 6 powerfully built warriors. They have a metal cap and basically just this like very sleeveless linen shirt with a chainmail on top. And they have, some of them have shields, some of them have swords and axes. Some of them are wielding javelins, and they're just a couple of dozen meters away, kind of overwatching this. And without a test, and also because Ingvar points out, these are the thralls that they mentioned. The people working, around 30 to 20 people working at hacking the trees are thralls. And the people that are overwatching, that are wearing armor, they are the free men of here.
Fun fact, right is the word.
I was looking in Norska stuff to see if there was a specific word for freeman.
I mean, not really, because you didn't have to, like, if you were a threat, well, that's what you were. But if you weren't, it's being a thrall and not being a thrall is the big distinction.
Yeah. But I was looking to see if there was a specific thing.
Berard, were you still missing wounds? Do you want to try and like rest, or for the rest we did last night to heal it all?
I was gonna ask that. Was there enough to rest and recover wounds being at the sanctuary place?
Yes, of course. As you, it is enough for you guys to rest on that.
All right. Is it
Also,
just normal average, or
I have
difficult?
on Berard's cloak
Challenging.
to try and make myself hidden.
Mm-hmm.
Anything but that last 0. What a load of bull.
Is this something I need to re-roll?
I think so.
Are there penalties for failed rest?
I mean, I can think of a few things that a GM can do on 100. Unless you're not going to do anything with that.
Yeah, like, do I just wake up with the greatest muscle cramp in my leg?
I don't feel the need. I feel like that I have already done a lot of stuff. I don't feel the need to punish a level 100 at resting. But I am going to say that it is probably going to be a nightmare field. Probably you're going to have some kind of fever overnight. It's kind of like just this very quick cold that lasts one night, and then on the other morning you feel like shit, but not particularly worse or better. Just kind of just shit at all of it. Failure just means you don't recover any wounds.
The absolute worst sleep while being able to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god. Ashling's lizard wakes Berard up.
I was plagued when I was a child that whenever I traveled for Christmas or New Year, I would always get sick at like the day that there was going to be like any special dinners or anything like that. So as a child, traveling for Christmas and New Year was very cursed because I knew I was going to just get sick, and I always get. So it has the same feeling of like, oh, finally there's a closed off space, there's a safe place for me to sleep, and then you get like a crazy fever overnight and it sucks. Basically that.
Crazy fever is like, why does sleeping in a bed feel wrong?
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's kind of like sleeping in another place that is not yours. There's this like just feeling of wrongness.
Oh yeah, that's whenever you're traveling and you're in a hotel, just the worst.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't have that problem. Haha.
To the funny man.
Me.
So this is the general structure of Skeggy. You guys are arriving by the west gate. You should be able to see the map.
Yes,
we can.
Okay. So you guys arrived by the west gate, which is where the tokens are. There isn't a patrol or like a guarding or anything like that. The only soldiers you see are in these in the walls They seem to be overlooking the jungle, but they don't really pay attention to you guys as you're walking up to the city of Skeggi. And you can see that a lot of people, there's a lot of people on the outside that are doing this like cleaning work of trying to push the jungle back from the walls. But aside from those people, aside from these warriors and the trolls, you guys don't actually see a lot of people here. There are people walking around and people from the city itself, but you don't see any warriors that would be like checking for passports or anything like that on a normal city of the Empire. As you arrive, I'm going to show an image. It is an image at night, but it symbolizes kind of like just how the city looks. You see these different little islands of a bunch of small structures built with this almost like rotten wood and hay roofs. They're structured in these little islands, and every cluster you see on the map is a little island or like a couple of small islands that are close enough to each other where you don't have to go by boat, you can just jump. But if you are going from one district to another, it is fully flooded and it takes a while. You do see a couple of trolls that are on the water, carrying these like large boxes and carrying clothes and other stuff and kind of like going from one side to the city to the other. And usually they are accompanied and even pulling some boats. So you see like a cluster of trolls that are carrying boxes, and one of them has a rope that is tied to his waist, and as he walks forward, there's a little rowboat with 2 warriors on the back that are kind of chatting as they go. You don't see a lot of necessarily warriors. You see a majority of trolls that are kind of going from one side to the other. But you do notice the amount of Norscan warriors in this region as you're walking. And very quickly, as you leave the jungle, it's almost like the city takes the city is built on a hole. So you're walking on road and jungle, and then you pass the gate, and there's a steep incline or decline, and then it's just water. As it's showing in the image, it's a little there's kind of these lily pads going around, and there's a great number of rowboats that are either like rowing or being pulled by trolls going from one side to the other. Ingvar, as you arrive, he points to the side, and you see to the right of you as you enter, there's a little cluster that has almost like a bigger island that has a bunch of different buildings built on it. They are low buildings, but you see there are a lot of them, and you do hear singing coming from them.
Do we recognize the voice? Well, the language being sung in?
It is Reichspiel.
Oh, snap. How do we get over there? I ask either Ingvar or Egolf, but mostly pointed at Ingvar.
He kind of shakes his shoulders and says, "We can rent a boat, or we can go walking, I think."
Oleana said that there was it wasn't deep enough and we could walk to the foreign quarter.
I don't know. Not sure I want to try what's in this water.
You'll walk
Could be
through
crabs.
like a month of rain.
There could be crabs.
Brad will take
That
a few
is fair.
steps into the water, and if it's not like waist deep, point out they would be very tiny crabs.
Immediately get swarmed by crabs.
There are an amount of creatures going from one side to the other, you can recognize some fish, some eels, some crabs also that are kind of
There they
inhabiting
are.
this place.
Egon is not going anywhere near that.
As you're walking, it is kind of like walking through a kind of like flooded forest kind of ambient. Although some of you do notice it is still sunny, but the sun seems to be covered as the day goes by. There is a large mound of earth, like a giant piece of rock that is on the other side of the city that starts blocking some of the sun and kind of like making a shadow over the village. By the way, the map you're looking, north is up. So the sun is rising on the right, which is in the direction of the mound, which is that 8.
Yes.
Which is just like
That's
the 8 is
dark.
just like a gigantic stone that erects on the other side of the village.
Man, I've got some.
And
Alexis and I have some memories in this place because her Friday group just left.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but enough of that. Without tangenting much, does Egon see any boat renters, for lack of a better
ferryman
term?
or a gondola
If
driver.
if they're renting out the boats, that sort of implies that you have to row your own boat, or have a thrall do it.
there are a number of people that are offering this. You have to walk through a little bit of water to get to the nearby houses, nearby islands. But one of the first ones you see is a very tall, tall and kind of like small but 2 stories tall little hut that has a bunch of rowboats that have trawls that are chained down to the rowboat.
Eagle,
Ugh.
you'll never hear me say this again, but I'll pay you 6 pennies if you carry me over to those boats.
Okay.
As Tehetekai is moving along the Warmbloods, he's going to be doing his best to try and, like, mimic how they walk. Doing his best to, not draw attention to himself.
You're trying to not be as good in water as you would be. Yeah, I think
be more crap at water walking.
I think you can roll me just a stealth check, just to see how much you do. Stealth, normal stealth, not stealth roll.
The joyous reversal.
Okay.
Berard mimics Tehetekai in the woods. Tehetekai mimics Berard in the water.
Stealth.
Both are ungainly.
Is it challenging?
Let's say average, because you do have aquatic. I think that's gonna be easier, especially because for most people it's like chest high, like
Plus
the middle of the chest.
4.
For Tehetekai is almost swimming. It's very close to swimming.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Tehetekai, you make your best, and honestly, to most people, you are pretending to be almost like a drowning halfling, just for the sheer. You take very wide steps, as you have seen humans do, and your head frequently dives into the water and then comes back, so you're kind of just bouncing on the top of the water as you make your way there.
It didn't occur to me that
more convenient,
he's trying
convincing. I'll actually hold his sleeve and walk with him.
Oh,
supposed to be imitating a halfling, not your child.
Well, too bad. Now you're a child.
We're gonna meet like
halfling
some
companion.
chaos worshipping Norse, and Ashling's like, "Don't talk to me or my son ever again."
Yeah, look, she set up the joke way beforehand, so I'm pleased. You guys arrive, and Igor looks to you, Egon, and he's like, did you say seriously about carrying me?
Look, have you ever heard of something called pigback riding?
I have carried pigs in my back in my farm, yes.
Good enough.
Very good. And he goes to pick you up, and he's like, do you want to be picked up as pig or as princess?
I'll go with pig.
Very good. He fully like grabs both your arms and just throws you as if like a sack of potatoes over his shoulder.
Alright.
Yeah. And he starts carrying you guys. You guys arrive at this little kind of like a rowboat renting place, and very like soon after you leave, after you arrive, you see some of the people kind of like inside negotiating, and you hear them speaking in Norse. None of them seem to be speaking in Reich speak. And you see that Ingvar kind of like coughs up a little and starts practicing some syllables before you arrive. Before he's like, okay, how much money do we have?
Sorry, I'm practicing the syllables.
How much money do we have?
Look, I've got a gold, almost 2 gold, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that expensive.
I don't think so either, but I just wanted to know how much we're dealing with. Okay.
Tantakai's gonna
You guys
reach
wait
into
here.
his little bag, and he's gonna pull out his one shilling, and is gonna like tap Perhard on the shoulder with it, and be like, "Here."
Oh, thanks. That should maybe cover it.
Give silver shilling.
You see he kind of like climbs up into this little island, and you see he starts speaking in Norse with the member or one of the guys that are there. He's like the owner is like has a little bit of a head of hair, but has this like wildly giant beard, and he's dressed. Most of the people of the Norsemen of Norscan you see are wearing armor and are wielding weapons. It's kind of like an easy distinction between the freemen here and the thralls. Just like the armor and the weapons are dead giveaway. You see that he kind of negotiates for a while. He kind of like rubs his fingers, speaks some more, and then after a while, they kind of like spit on their hands and clasp them. And as he comes back, he's like, "Okay, so it's a per day thing. We pay the slave, and he said he's gonna cut our tongues if we don't pay in time, or if we kill the slave. So, just to kind of let everyone know of the requirements here, it's gonna be 1 silver per day. But the slave there is gonna carry us all over. He's just gonna be there for us, you know."
All right. I suppose there's no negotiating not having the slave, right?
With this guy, not really, because whenever we're not using, the slave is gonna take the boat back. He said that if we wanted to be just a boat, we were gonna have to buy the boat. I don't think he was speaking truthfully, but you know, that is what he said. That wasn't really negotiable.
Olira did say there were better deals, and Broad will point to the foreign quarter.
We might get better deals there, you know.
You know what, Egolf? I'll double your pay if you carry us over to that quarter over there.
Carry you or everyone?
Just me. Don't worry, no one else minds.
Okay. That was going to be more expensive. This is fine. And he again throws you on his back like a sack of potatoes and keeps walking to the
Whee!
foreign quarter. The foreign quarter, or like the foreign town, is full of inns. It's basically just a section of different inns that are very close to each other.
Random question before we
yes.
get any further.
Go ahead.
Via Sixth Sense or Second Sight, do I have any feelings about Skeggy?
Roll me an intuition. It's gonna be average intuition, just to kind of like gauge how much of it. Even failure is going to give you information, but just want to check how much you're catching on the information.
+2.
Cool. On Second Sight, you feel two things. There's a powerful magic.
I should say, if there's magic about, or when, if detecting the winds of magic is going off, then it would be a +3 because of the talent.
So when you're kind of like in the Second Sight, you feel that this place has a lot of natural magic. That has a lot of like the Lustria effect of just burgeoning vegetal, natural life that keeps pushing. That is what keeps pushing the vegetation against the city itself. So you feel that there's magic there that was put by someone. It's hard to identify what it is, what it came from, but you do identify some Slan magic there. There's some influence of lizardman magic here that is affecting the town, but the nature of it is something that is like, it's weird to feel because it's harder here than inside the jungle itself. So that feels kind of weird.
Okay.
But you do also feel a concentration of dar. It is not pervasive. It is not like everywhere, but there is a faint smell of it that you catch in the air that is a little kind of like almost of, when you're in a place like a park or a restaurant and you hear this faint smell of cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
And it's kind of pervasive, like everywhere you go, you
exactly
kind
what
of
you
smell
mean.
it sometimes, but you don't see anyone smoking. And it's not like unbearable. It's just that slight smell.
Yeah, there's
that
just
kind of like punches you.
Kind of a deep corruption present on the wind.
It's in the furniture. That's where the smell comes from.
Yeah. When you enter someone's car,
it was the last time they changed this carpet.
Yeah, like kind of like the leather and the carpet has this like disgusting smell, but you don't see a miasma as there would be in a very corrupted place like I'll give you this description as you Sotek, not Tehetakai, just for you to understand. It's not like the wasteland or any the chaos wastes or something like that. It's not like a corruption that has destroyed the land, because Lustria is very resistant to that. It's just that smell of like, this is going to be a pain to clean away. It's gonna take a while. We're probably gonna have to just remove everything, throw the carpet away and buy a new one. But you don't see any concentration of it that is as like big as like a chaos sorcerer or chaos warrior walking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, for Tehetakai's perspective, it's an unsettling and distracting amount, but not enough where he thinks that there's like a squad of a warband of chaos warriors sitting in the center.
Exactly. In regards to how people are looking, you actually have a good grasp of this, and I would even say that extends to Egon because of criminal etiquette.
Oh boy.
As you're walking around, people are looking towards you in a way that is very identifiable. They are not looking at you as if you weren't supposed to be there. They're looking at you as people would look at a tourist. Either a nuisance or how can I take advantage of this person?
They think we're marked.
there is a like as you're walking, people identify you're not from here, and none of the people here really approach you, but they are looking at you and seeing like, what are your intentions here? Are you coming here to take my place? You see a bunch of younger folk that as you're arriving, as you're like walking around, they start kind of flexing their muscles because you are a couple of people that are well built enough to be looking like warriors. So you see some of the warriors kind of like flexing. Some of them put their hands on their axe, not threatening, just showing that they're not going to be replaced by you. So there's this kind of like dog eats dog mentality that is happening, and people are looking at you, kind of identifying if you are a mark or if you are a rival. And this is something that Egon, you are very familiar with this. You have spent a lot of time dealing with people that look at you that.
I look at people that way.
Yeah, exactly. So it is very something that is like, kind of, you can see this in their eyes, in the way that they puff off their chest and their shoulders as they look at you. There's this kind of like masculine, not masculine, because there are Norscan women that are also doing this, but like this macho approach of like kind of
standoffish sort of.
Yes.
Also, Egon
Macho
also
and
notices
Randy Savage.
brother. But
Yeah,
yeah, there's probably one of those two. But yeah, he also sees them glancing down near the waist of everyone. That's to check how bulging the coin purse is. He knows that one too. And they're also a lot of eyes also land on Egolf to try and figure out if it's worth to make trouble or not.
Yeah, they're mainly looking at you, Egolf, and Berard. The three of you are the main people they're looking for. Like, if I wanted to rob these people, how many guys would I need to have? Are these people like a new gang that is coming into town? Do I need to worry? Just a bunch of like running thoughts on people's minds. But they stand off because you have these people. You have enough people that nobody wants to mess with you unless they're certain they can win. So that's kind of the vibe you get. That is both you and Tehetakai, by the way. Both of you have this vibe. Tehetakai, I think it's more instinctual. People look at you in a way, because of your sixth sense, it gives this like chill on your spine that you feel.
Yeah, I'm prey in a den of hunters. Yeah.
Exactly. And like you feel that you are just enough of a number and big enough that no one wants to mess with you. No predator wants to do that, but at the same time, it is a threat you're currently facing.
Yeah, he will as he's kind of like using his quarterstaff as a bit of a walking stick when the water's not deep enough that he has to be swimming. He's kind of always on edge.
You eventually get to the foreign quarter, the foreign town, and you see a lot of people around. There are different inns, different like long houses, which are these like the places built of wood with this like whole this hay thing, and in the center there is a almost like a watchtower that has a bunch of people on top. And one of the people that are on the watchtower actually have more of a imperial appearance. They have the helmet is a little different, and they have like a long bow. And they seem to be smoking a pipe on the watchtower, kind of looking around. And you do identify some of the people on here as Norscans. Some of these Skeggy locals with those like chainmail and large round shields and axes that are patrolling, but none of them give you shit. They just wave their hat at you and kind of like keep patrolling.
Does No, we're probably not close enough. The that imperial-looking guy with the longbow, or did I? I heard that right? Right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Does he A have any insignia, like religious symbol on him, or does he have any like heraldry showing like any nation, like showing where he's from? Not that I have Lord heraldry or anything like that. I'm just curious.
From this distance, it's kind of hard to see. Because he is like you've just identified that he has a different dressing from the rest of the people. So from this distance, it's impossible to see. But you see that he has a little bit of a leather cap on his head, and some kind of like feather on the side, and he's wearing a tunic that is kind of like greenish in color. From this, yeah, kind of like greenish in color. You can't really identify where that person is from. You would have to like climb with the tower and check, because again, the tower is like 3 to 4 stories high. So yeah, you would have to check. Come a little closer to check.
All right, fair enough. But do we arrive in the foreign quarter?
You do.
Excellent. I wish to. Well, first, I ask Egolf to put me down. And I wish to try and find. Well, I wish to try and listen to and then find the first person that I can hear speaking Reichspiel.
I'm gonna say you can make either like a perception or a gossip check.
Ooh,
It's gonna be
one
either one's gonna be average.
Ah, that should not be difficult.
As you're making this roll, I'm just gonna be kind of like just setting up the scene. This place
You know what?
is you're walking on wood, by the way. Each of the districts is an island. You can walk on wood, so you're no longer underwater. And there's a bunch of smaller places like inns and taverns that are spread around this kind of like wooden platform. Okay. How does luck make you succeed in this?
Well,
can you describe to me what you hear counting with the fortune point?
So, what happens is that he hears, well, because of the, what's it called? Because of the, like, verticality of the place, because everything seems to be built so, like, stupid high, he hears, like, Reichspiel coming from, like, several different places, but he can't reach any of them until he actually, well, either A, notices a ladder, or B, sees someone actually, like, walking down, like, one of the many, like, the maze-like paths that you can take in order to, like, ascend. So...
Yeah, you probably see one of the guys, kind of a person climbing down almost like a hidden staircase.
Ooh, nice. I'll take that. Ooh, it's like built into the wall and made to look like just part of the building. Ooh, I like that. So yeah, Egon will casually wait until the guy is, the individual is done climbing down, and he will then trace the path they went in order to see what's up there, because he definitely heard some, was it northern or southern sounding accents?
It's actually a very good question.
Because Egon would know what most of the northern sounding ones would be, and he has an idea of what southern sounding, what's southern imperial sound like, but it's mostly negative stereotypes.
It seems to be Northern.
Ooh, holy crap!
Seems to be an
Well,
accent from the north.
With with that in mind, he puts a little pep into his pace and hones in on those northern accents.
You hear a Northern like accent, and you also hear an accent that I don't know if Egon has ever heard before. It's a little almost like a singing accent that I would believe that Egon hasn't heard.
A sort of sing-song accent.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think he has. I'm trying to figure out where that is, but
Quick question before we continue. Ashling, Berard, and Tahetakai, are you following Egon?
Yeah.
Well,
Berard-
Ashling's apparently holding on to me, so I guess I'm going wherever she goes.
Yep. I'm walking with my child, the lizard,
Mm-hmm.
while carrying a lizard.
I'm still listening. I'm gonna grab.
Oh.
I'm gonna grab something real quick, but I can still hear y'all.
Okay. Berard?
Berard's following them.
Climb the stairs, and you kind of like climb. The staircase is actually built into the wall, like between two of the buildings. It's almost like just 1.5 meters across. It's very narrow. But you climb up, and as you enter, there's this little wave of heat and music that hits you. Music is peculiar. It seems to be a very rural music that I think it's a to. And there's a couple of people on different tables. You see that the place seems to be populated mostly of Imperials. You see people with different tunics of different colors, groups of 5 up to 10 people. And the people that are talking, they are closest to the stage. And you see this group of people, around 8. They have some of them have like chainmail. Some of them have leather armor. So they mostly have like spears and weaponry. And there is a guy standing on one of the chairs. Seems to be very chubby, like fat, with big cheeks, big rosy cheeks. He has a kind of like a beautiful red tunic that has some details in gold and green, and he's a halfling. And you see he speaks with a very, very probably not going to be able to emulate it myself, but he speaks with a very, very, very rural accent. And as you look at him as like halfling, probably he's from the Mootland, which
How
is
you
why his
doing now?
accent. Yeah, he speaks kind of like that, and you see he's kind of like on his feet on the chair, speaking to the rest of this like party of people that are around. You see some massive guy with a little bit of like a plate chest armor, and a great sword behind him. You see some other folk with like seems to be bows and slings, and he seems to be talking about something very loudly. Well, you see, my plan is for we to go northward, and then after a couple of days, there should be a very big obelisk. We avoid the obelisk because then we're gonna die. Okay? And you see that the guy's kind of like walking and kind of seem to be agreeing with him. All right. And then,
Knock, knock.
and he looks towards the entrance like, oh, there's plenty of room, fellas. Can come in. Sorry. Am I speaking too loudly?
Oh, no, perfectly fine. I was just curious to hear some fellow Imperials.
Oh, that's very good to know. Please sit around. I'm not the owner of this establishment, but you can serve yourselves, I think. And you see, there's a guy, very like grumpy guy that has a part of his small. There's like this open wound that is showing a little bit of bone, but that seems to be like healed over. And he just looks and says, I'll be right with you. Just you can sit wherever you want. I'll take your order very quickly. Don't worry. And the
Alright.
halfling continues like, right, as I was saying. So a couple of weeks from now, there's a large amount of treasure that can be found. It's inside a very small hole that is around a little bit of a fountain. And he starts talking, continues talking about some kind of plan he has. After a while, the barman kind of comes in. He's also wearing a sword on his side. But he comes over like, right. Are you from here? Not from here. Okay. What do you want for food?
What do you got?
Do you want the local stuff like tourist, or do you want some like taste of home kind of deal?
Ooh.
I will take something that's a taste from home.
Taste from home? Alright.
What
about
about
the
you,
rest
son?
of you?
Depends. Where's your home?
And he kind of like munches a little. I'm from Ostland, although it's been a while since I've been there.
Never been.
Tetrakai will
Here
lean
it's-
close to Ashling and say, same.
Never tried Ostlander food. Is it any good?
Don't mind my son, he's sick.
Well, I think it's pretty good.
Sure. I'll go for some of that.
Alright.
Or I could
What
go
about
for some
you, fella?
Ostlander food.
Ostlander food. Alright, got it. And he goes to the back, and you see after a while he kind of like comes, and he has a bunch of these cheeses. Seem to be very very thick cheeses, and grabs a bottle of vodka, cheese, and some bread. And he basically brings like a piece of
Butter?
stone that is on top of a piece of hot stone, and he puts it on the center of the table. It's like, right? Have any of you eaten the mountain cheese of Ostland?
Well, you know what? 1, he has. 2, he hasn't. He has not. Can't say I
Right.
have.
Right? So what you do is you grab the cheese, you cut it with this knife, and you put it on top of the stone, and you let it melt, and then you scrape it off, and you put it in your mouth. You preferably like not spit, but like you like he kind of like almost like whistles as he's blowing air into his fingers, and then you eat.
Egon, curious to see how this would work, cuts a slice of cheese, throws it on, sees it melt, scrape, and he instead of like blowing, he just lets it wait while it cools. He sort of waves it around in the air. and then nom.
It
Now,
is a very,
is
very
it
strong
goat cheese? Is it goat cheese, perchance?
Honestly, it would probably be goat cheese.
Oh, it's so good.
But
Ah.
it is hot enough that it leaves a little bit of a crust. So as you eat, there's this like crunchy side of it. And there is it's almost like it's a very different experience because it's a crunchy part and then the soft of the cheese as it kind of like melted, and then the exterior which is cured, so it is still a little bit salty.
Oh, it's hot. Oh, he fans his mouth.
I said to blow into it.
He looks around. Are there any drinks within
Could
arm's
you
reach?
spit it out?
There's a bottle of vodka on the table.
He takes a swig to
No,
cool
you
his
should
mouth.
spit that up. Okay.
I'm sure that's a consume alcohol test, right?
Yeah, consume alcohol for sure.
Yeah.
I can have cheese. How
challenging?
dare you, chat?
Since it was
I don't know if lizards can have
The
cheese.
old ones would have allowed me to have cheese.
I am not an old one, but I do allow the lizard.
It's part of the great plan that lizards can have cheese as a treat.
Ooh. Oh my god. Goat cheese, bread, and vodka. Ooh, goes down smooth.
And he you drink, and it is a very flavorful experience actually, and it looks, you're a natural. It is actually supposed to be eaten with a shot of vodka afterwards. If we were home, there was also be salami. This is vodka.
Well,
What did you drink?
This is vodka.
I'm asking in character.
He's responding in character
I think
because he's pointing to the only bottle.
No. I was asking Victor's character.
Yeah, well, he's still
Burning
swallowing
mouth?
the food. Yeah,
okay.
the roof of his mouth is slightly burned. He's still fanning it slightly and says, I believe that's potato alcohol, right?
Also known as vodka.
Ah, well, what he said.
Hmm.
He finally manages to cool his mouth. Well, I am from across the Middle Mountains, so I'm not that far off from Ostland.
Well, good to know that you are at least manly enough to eat cheese and drink vodka.
Cheese. Sorry, that's the player, not Egon. Because cheese is good.
Oh well.
Right.
I brought a piece of cheese for each of you, so you all do the same thing as Hits did. If you want the vodka, you can also drink the vodka. I will charge you for however much food you eat. So, yes.
Egon hands him 4 shillings to begin with. That should cover all of us, right?
That is going to be enough cheese and enough vodka.
Excellent.
Very good. And he puts the coins on his pouch and kind of like walks back to the bar.
So, is there a break in the halfling talking?
Very brief.
A moment where he's not just yapping and yapping and yapping.
If you want to wait like an hour, probably, but he is going from one subject to the other. He doesn't seem to be tired or like close to stopping.
Jeez. Well, in between when he has to take a breath, Egon calls out, "Hey, Master Halfling."
Yes? What do you want?
You seem to be a talkative fellow. How much do you know about, well, this place? He sort of gestures in a all around, indicating Skeggy.
He looks to, and you do notice that the people from his table seem to be like relieved that he stopped talking. And he's like, well, I haven't really finished what I have to say, but I can tell you some things. Yeah.
I'm sure you can
Uh,
spare a tangent.
Well, my apologies, gentlemen. I'll be right back to you. And he jumps from the chair and kind of comes to you. And
I'm sure I just got karma points for that.
there is a great amount of people that look towards you as if they owned you with their lives. And you see that he is like, well, I have you know, mister, I'm not actually that talkative. My mom always said that I was a very quiet boy.
Yeah, I'm sure she was right. So,
Right up to the day she died.
sorry about that.
Well,
Didn't
it was her
catch your
time.
name.
She was kicked by a goat. Sorry?
What was your name? Didn't catch it in all of that rambling.
This
Well-
cheese has a background of halfling murder.
Well, if you must know, my name is Bees in the Ball, Tumble Down Stoutheart.
That is a name and a half.
That is the most halfling name I've ever heard in my life.
That's actually just one name. It's not one name and a half. My surname is two name because of my mom and my pop.
Master Stoutheart, if you don't mind me calling you that.
Tumble Down Starheart, please. Don't forget my mother. She was kicked by a goat. She deserves respect.
Master Tumbledown Stoutheart. Apologies.
Thank No problem.
I'm Manfred Frank. I am the procurer for this little group, and he indicates to everybody else. What I also procure is information.
Right. Well,
So-
there's a bunch of information to be said. I can start talking if you want, but you said I'm a very talkative one, so I think you would be annoyed
well-
by that.
Don't worry, I'll tell you which direction to go. Fear not, fear not. I am very much curious. How long have you been in Skeggy? Not not just the group that you're with, but you yourself.
He looked a little bit upwards, and as he's like counting on his head, I'm like, well, 2 weeks or so now.
2 weeks. Okay, that might work. Did you see a large? Actually, out of character, did we see a large boat anywhere in the bay?
From the place
Or-
you were, probably wouldn't be able to have a good view of the dock because
Right, fair
there's
enough.
a stone wall kind of protecting on the same side you went there.
All right. So, Egon asks, so you wouldn't happen to see a great big galleon in the bay that leads into Skeggy, no?
No, I did see myself a very big. I don't know if it's called galleon. Not very a river person, but I did see a very big boat. Yeah.
Did it have imperial markings on it?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that covers half what I'm thinking. Have they been they haven't been parading around prisoners, have they?
No, they killed a bunch
The
of people
Norsemen's,
though.
I mean. Ooh.
On the
Anyone important
I
looking?
assume you're specifically talking about the boat.
Yes, specifically about the boat.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. They killed a bunch of people on the boat. They threw like bodies and blood. It was very unpleasant.
Well, like I said, did anyone important looking get killed?
Can't say I really know. Most people were naked, so I couldn't really see if they were like rich or poor.
Never mind then. Moving on. Have you heard about actually no, Egon hesitates at that point before he was about to mention the Kohler name, but he thinks it's probably for the better to keep things closer to the chest. He
Right?
instead says, have there been, well, we heard that there have been some riots happening. Do you know anything more about those?
Oh yeah, terrible affair. Bunch of people fighting, killing each other. Horrible.
Did you figure out why?
I It was a discussion regarding political structures of power or regarding cauliflower. Admittedly, in Norse, the two things are very close to each other, so I couldn't really get a grasp. And I have
You
seen people
know,
kill each other for broccoli, so I don't know if cauliflower is the same thing.
well, we're not in the mood, so I doubt the Norskins are as extreme about their vegetables.
You wouldn't know. They seem to be very
I
extreme about everything they do, so I don't know.
Do they grow cauliflower?
They could.
Shocking that.
I
Oh
don't
well.
know.
Do you know anyone who might know more in the
Tatakai is enjoying
vague
his cheese.
direction? Nom. Do you know anyone who
Uh,
could be of more, could be more knowledgeable than you?
he kind of pouts a little. And he says, very knowledgeable, as you know, but
Egon's inner voice. Doubt that.
well, I'll say this. I don't really know anyone from my circles who would be able to get that information or whatever information you want. But if you want to, I can get you that information, yes.
I mean, what's the price?
He kind of thinks for a second. How good are you at climbing?
Not good at all. But
Well,
I do know someone who is.
there's a very high place that I need to climb during the night, which is very dangerous, as you know. So, if if you're willing to take me up there, I can talk around to people and see if they have any information you want. How's about that?
Fine. But do you don't mind if we send a representative in our place?
Oh, I do mind. Yeah,
Wait, he
I'm
does
not
mind or
doing.
he doesn't?
I do. I do. No,
So you
my
want
pa
all of
always
us?
said whenever you're doing someone a favor, you have to do it yourself. Otherwise, you're just a slaver. My pa has very specific examples for things in life.
Well, in that case, how about wait, hold on. Egon catches himself. Where exactly do you want us to climb?
Uh, he looks down for a second and is like, you know that big rock on the other side of the place?
Yeah, what about actually did we is it tall enough that we saw it
It
coming
is
in?
tall enough that you saw it. The scarp.
Yeah, that giant rock
Yeah.
protruding up.
They
Yeah,
call
we
it the
saw it.
scarp. Yeah, I have to get up there one night.
All right, fine. Deal.
All right.
What night?
Well, whatever you can, just let me know before. And then we climb.
We can do it tonight.
Then we can do it tonight.
All right.
And then
one
tomorrow, get your information. How about that?
One last question.
Yeah.
Do you know any
of course.
places that has better boat deals?
There is a guy near the docks that sells some good. That he makes and sells some good boats.
Well,
he's also in the
renting.
renting business. Yeah, he's also in the
Ah.
renting business.
Ah, good. Excellent. We'll see if we can get a better deal than the Norskins.
No problem. He's a raging alcoholic, so I think you're gonna have a good time.
What's
No
his
doubt.
favorite drink?
Doesn't really care particularly, so as strong as it can be.
A non-discerning alcoholic. Loremaster.
Yep. Just don't talk about daughters. He's a little touchy on that subject.
Weirdly specific, but thanks for the warning, Master Tumbledown Startheart. You can now go back to your grand speech.
Good thing you allowed me, otherwise I would be stuck here, right?
Mhm.
And he
Laugh.
jumps down and goes back to the table.
Egon
and
turns
as
back to the group.
he looks towards you and says, "All right, we'll do it during the night. Whenever you hear the first PC scream of pain, how about that? We'll meet each other
Sorry.
here.
Wait, I didn't actually hear what he said.
Hear the first
Whenever
one.
you
What?
hear the first piercing scream of pain."
Well, that's one way to tell the time.
Usually the killing here only waits until the night, so whenever you hear very loud screaming of someone in pain, then we can go.
All right, perfect. Do we meet here for leaving?
Yeah, here I think is a good place.
Excellent. All right. In that case, Egon turns to the rest of his table.
Berard looks back at you, having committed the great crime of putting the melty cheese on the bread instead of directly into his mouth before eating.
Hands him a bottle of vodka. You're gonna need this.
Well, I can wait for it to cool on the bread.
Trust me, it'll taste better.
Tantica will quietly say, "What do about one look?"
Well, we've got some information lined up, but apparently we need to climb a damn hill.
Climbing.
How
That
hard
doesn't
can that
sound
be?
too hard.
Easy for Tantica. Harder for Joe.
Well, we have to bring the halfling up the mountain, right?
I think that's what he said, yeah?
Do you think that, Ashling's son would be able to take the halfling up?
Looks over at,
On
belly
his own.
of halfling. I don't think Tatakai has the strength for that. No offense.
Queenie Jacants. Follow Tantica's steps. Be fine.
We need chickens?
What?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I don't think they will help.
No, not chicken. He's going to point over at the halfling discreetly and say, Queenie Zankants.
I don't think you should be using that kind of language.
I beg your pardon?
Was that the words for halfling?
Half. He'll
He
just.
struggles.
Yes. Halfling.
Huinizankan.
Shh, don't use that word.
Whatever you
Well,
do,
some.
Berard. Whatever you do, Berard, I don't think you should attempt any saurians soon.
Are you sure? I think I'm getting pretty good.
Look, if if we know our luck,
Don't use
we'll probably insult some
around-
god.
Don't use around other lizards. Best not.
Are you sure?
You heard Twintail.
Have you been telling me the wrong answers to the words?
Many words have many meanings. Important. Order correct. Wrong order mean different thing.
Alright.
So I should be asking you how you say entire phrases instead of single words.
Egon reaches for the vodka bottle.
If wish to learn, yes.
Ka.
I'm going to go.
Tentakai
I'm
like
gonna go
looks
rent
up through the little hood on his cloak, and like he can't frown, but he really tries. And we'll say, "Ka not mean good."
What means good then?
What does mean good?
Existential crisis. The
E-
little lizard. What
E-
does mean?
Egon says, I'm gonna go rent a boat. If you don't want to take part in a grammar lesson, I suggest anyone who wishes can come with me.
Oh, the boy said, offered this to help pay for the boat, and I will slide Egon the shilling.
Gives head pat to Hood. Thanks, boy.
Boy.
Oh, we should have a name. What shall we call ya? Heta? Eta?
Call him Twintail.
Tentakai kind of looks and goes,
What?
"Tentakai."
Yeah, but when secret name.
Been
When
over
you don't
this.
want, like... I mean when you're hiding. Trying not to be known as who you are. What pseudonym do you want?
Tentakai not know.
What would happen if I went over to that Norse guy that we met at the beginning, and I walked up right in front of him and then started spouting out Saurian to ya? Wouldn't that make the cloak not work very well?
Tentakai kind of quirks his head and say, "Tentakai think Jozankas not know Sorin. They raid, steal, take, not learn, never learn."
So they don't hear it when you're rushing down to, send the big alligator to chomp on them.
He will shake his head.
Egon can't take any more of this. He's gonna stand up and, with anyone who wants to follow. Does anyone
respect.
follow?
I have to stay with the child.
Tentakai's looking at Ashling.
I will take your arm, take the cheese, and just walk with you.
Is Berard coming with us?
Berard follows.
Tentakai will look at Berard as they're walking and say, "Tentakai have question.
Alright.
Why Cho touch head?" And he mimes patting his own head.
Oh, let's see. What is... You got a word for family or friend?
No.
Oh, it's to show. Might be a little complex then, but oh, you know how there's some lizards? They'll do this thing where they face each other and like bend their legs and prop them back up at each other.
I love that I know what you're talking about, and it's the greatest thing ever. Because like,
He just he just stares at you as we're walking. There's no sign of intelligence on this occasion. Just staring.
Oh, it's a sign to show they appreciate you for something that you did or are. Has lots of meanings, very complex.
Ah. So he kind of mulls this over in his head and say,
lizard brain.
is gift in conca.
Yes.
Well, not in conquer, it's a pat on the head.
Conca group.
Yeah, like that.
Yes.
Proceeds to pat your head.
It's like a way to say you've done well, good job, without saying any words.
He will
Blank you.
he will keep this information in mind. Thinking how strange it is that they constantly seem to be telling good job to one another.
Look, humans need a lot of positive affirmations.
I am going to be very honest. This conversation melted my brain. It was, jeez. I think we could end today's session here as you guys go towards the boat. I think it's a good
that's fine
time
with
to
me.
stop for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that means I could take a shower. Oh boy, getting naked.
But Ashley
Well,
already
that-
took a
that doesn't-
bath.
Yeah,
We had
now
the
I
scene
have
and
to.
everything.
Method role playing. That's what this is.
We have wasted so many resources painting the mist clouds above the chest.
Exactly.
They went with the
The
stylistic.
budget.
They went with the stylistic cloud option and destroyed the budget.
Alexis, the budget.
They just had
We
to
took
go.
the entire
We went
animation
too
budget on one
hard.
cloud.
We went too hard on the jiggle physics and the cloud animating, and it just ruined the whole. It just ruined the budget.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And don't even forget about that one drop of water that went all the way down the body.
The
Oh,
pen
God.
shot that went around like a
It was
360
worth the dolly
man,
zoom. It was worth it.
You know, we had to like shank an old woman.
Yo, chat just roasted me. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That was yeah.
Would,
So anyway, we'll
would
close
Norskin's
the
wolf
session
whistle?
here.
I don't.
Yes,
maybe-
yes, they would.
Probably. I don't know.
Ooga.
I am not going to be interpreting Haugus from Norskin, so you guys can imagine that if you want to.
Anywho, I'm gonna end the recording here. Thanks for watching, everyone.